flags flying high, voices roared against the dark. In the streets they left their mark. In the alleys whispers grow, hooligans strike their hidden blow. Walls get painted with the truth, revolution in the hands of youth. Jeff and the hooligans carve their fate, shouting till the morning late. Power shifts when crowds unite, in the chaos rise the light. Corporate suits try to control, hooligans aim for heart and soul. Jeff's words light the spark, echoing through the park. From the suburbs to the slum, hooligans beat their drum. Jeff leads the fearless crew, turning red, white, and blue. Jeff and the hooligans call their fate, shouting till the morning late. Power shifts when crowds unite, in the chaos rise the light.
What is up, hooligans? Happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you're over on Rumble, please hit that like button. More likes equals more hooligans. We're going to read through a schedule really quick, and then we will be checking on all the chats. So let me know how you hooligans are doing today. Then, of course, we will be getting things started. We're going to be starting off with the video titled Real ID Deadline Has Travelers Scrambling. I don't know. I've had a Real ID for like 6 years, so I don't know if this is a big deal or not, but the deadline is coming up, so I figured we'd go ahead and cover it. Then we got video titled Deadline Looms for Schools to Cut DEI Programs or Risk Losing Their Funding. Apparently there's been 16 states that are refusing to comply with the DEI ban. A bunch of idiots. Then we got video titled Supreme Court to Hear Case Concerning LGBTQXYZ Books in Public Schools. I don't know why this is such a big deal right now at the end of the school year, but whatever. I think we should just get rid of those books. Then we got video titled Congress Weighs Plant-Based Milk in School Lunches. Apparently there's a milk mandate for schools. If they want to have federal funding, they have to provide milk. Now they're trying to find alternatives to cow milk, which is kind of weird. Then we got a follow-up video titled Representative Kevin Kiley, I think it is, praises Yale's overnight crackdown on pro-Palestinian protest. Yesterday we covered a video that was showing protesters building an encampment on Yale's campus. I said we would have a follow-up. I just didn't realize it was going to be within 24 hours. They have knocked that encampment down. They're not allowing pro-Hamas protesters to take over Yale. I think they're scared of losing their funding. Then we got video titled Don't Let Them Trick You Into Thinking We Are Enemies. Some promotional video that AOC has put out, and this has people thinking that this could be symptoms that AOC is going to be running in 2028. Then we got video titled MSNBC's Simone Sanders claims that Trump admin could target black American citizens for deportation. So you got blue team news out here lying to the normies, telling them, hey, if you're not white, you're getting deported, which is obviously not true. Then we got video titled President Trump holds a meeting with the Norwegian Prime Minister. This is from earlier today. We're not going to watch the whole little meeting that they had there, but President Trump did answer questions from the press, so I figure we might as well cover it. It's the closest thing to a press briefing we're going to have today. Then we got interesting video titled Democrat Judge Resigns After Housing Alleged Tren de Aragua Member. He didn't just house this guy. He was giving him guns and letting him shoot on the property and all kinds of stuff. The Democrats love illegals. Then we got video titled Marco Rubio places full responsibility for the war in Gaza squarely on Hamas, calling them 100% to blame. Then the last little bit of the news is Lefties losing it. This one's titled Dylan Mulvaney claims he's been trans since the age of 4. Lunatics. Then we'll be getting into the fun stuff. We'll be opening today's door of the advent calendar that was sent to us by Hair Juicer. Then we got 2 funny videos of the day. First one's titled The Real Reason They Want to Ban TikTok. And our official funny video of the day is titled Peaceful Protest. All of this is coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat and see how you hooligans are doing today. What is up, everyone, over on jeffmaclive.com? What's up, Jay Spray? What's up, Josh1776? What's up, Snooks? What's up, Russell? What's up, Hair Juicer? What's up, Astro Hammer? And what's up, Matt Rogers? Happy freedom, you hooligans. Appreciate all of you guys being here on the website. And what is up, everyone, over on Rumble? Cody, you were first today. I appreciate you racing the chat, Cody. What's up, Sage Pup? Happy freedom. What's up, Elder Zoomer? Appreciate you being here. Let me see. What's up, MU? Happy freedom to you. Let me see. You guys are waiting on me. What's up, Tony Rez? Appreciate you. What's up, Mr. Satan? Happy freedom. What's up, Let's Go Brandon? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Pumpkin? Let me see. What's up, Dutton? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Kevin? If I can get you already. What's up, Stoner? Happy freedom. What's up, Roy? Appreciate you being here. I think we got everybody. Go ahead and hit that like button. See if you can get us on the front page of Rumble. And what is up, everyone, over on Kick? What's up, 12th Man? What's up, Viola? Happy freedom. And what is up, everyone, over on Twitch? Matt Rogers, you're omnipresent. I appreciate you. What's up, Rad? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Tony Rich? Appreciate you being here. And what is up, everyone, over on the communism platform? Miss Satan, you were first over here. What's up, Mana? Matt Rogers, you're truly omnipresent. What's up, Cheeky Chops? What's up, Heaven Mag? Happy freedom. What's up, Mike Ingle? What's up, Dirtbike Freedom? What's up, Juggalo? What's up, Scott Johnson? Happy freedom, you hooligans. You guys are welcome to hit that like button over on YouTube as well. And what is up, everyone watching over on X? What's up, Donnie Brooklyn? Tony Rich, you are omnipresent. I appreciate you. All right, hooligans, let's go ahead and get into things. Like I said, we're going to be starting off with this first video titled Real ID Deadline Has Travelers Scrambling. Like I said, I've had a real ID for a long time because I wanted to be able to go to Canada or Mexico or ride on a cruise, so I had to have that because I don't have a passport, but it didn't work out in the end. Those countries don't want me to visit. But either way, figured we would cover this first. But before we do, I want to remind you hooligans really quick, we have these brand new Trump was right about everything t-shirts. Now this design was created by Alistair, and Alistair is a badass in just about everything he does. So I will be posting his link in all of the chats for you hooligans to have the opportunity to hire him for your creative needs, because if you think it, he can create it. Now this design does come in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, coffee mugs, dog tags. We even made long sleeve shirts. I want to say a couple other items out of this design here today. I got on the Hooligan 2A tank top. If you hooligans are going to get tank tops, you better get them now, because once they are sold out, they're gone, and they won't be back till like October, and you won't need them then. So either way, I'm going to be dropping all the links in the chats while we're watching this first video.
In just a couple weeks, everybody, you'll be required to have a special identification card that allows you to fly domestically. It's called a Real ID. And if you don't have one already, you'll want to try and get an appointment ASAP. Our Alicia Nieves is live with more on the Real ID deadline. Alicia, I can attest to this. I learned my lesson last week with the long lines. Some places, though, they're already booked past the deadline date.
Yeah, if you still need an appointment to get a Real ID, good luck. It's going to be a struggle for real. This appointment, this DMV just behind me, there isn't an available appointment here for at least 3 months until July. This is a location in New Jersey. We actually checked the entire state of New Jersey. There is no appointment available for a Real ID before that May 7th deadline, which is leading to frustrations from millions of Americans coast to coast who are still scrambling, who are like you, trying to get their hands on a Real ID. You've got the motor vehicle bureaus around the country saying they're struggling to cope with this recent surge. Some people just showing up, hoping to be attended to, and that's leading to long lines, even longer wait times. This really has become a very common experience over the last couple of weeks.
Shouldn't be a 3-hour, 2-hour event.
There's got to be a better way.
This is my second time back up here, so I'm gonna just ride it out.
But in several states, they are trying to make the process a little bit easier by extending DMV hours, setting aside some special time slots for those seeking a Real ID. Some are even offering emergency appointments for special cases, things like a life or death emergency or some other urgent travel. And if you're unsure if you actually have a Real ID or not, this was me a few weeks ago, you can just look at your ID card, your driver's license. If you spot a black or gold star, you're in good condition, you have a Real ID. If you haven't and you're still, again, on the mission to do this, to get a Real ID, remember this. this. You need documents proving your age, identity, and social security number, and your home address. And I have to say, Marky, just a few minutes ago, someone actually pulled up here. They have an appointment and they forgot a document, and you could hear them saying some frustrated words this morning, having to run back home and get those documents and still make their appointment. But the reality is, people have had some time. You're talking about 2 decades. This was passed in 2005, the Real ID Act. It's been delayed and extended to try and give people more time, but some still waiting to the last minute.
Yeah, I can feel their pain for getting that one important document. That's awful. Alicia, what happens if someone can't get a Real ID by the 7th and they have to fly?
Yeah, so the TSA is basically telling us that if you are in that situation where you have to fly and you don't have a Real ID, get ready to, quote, face delays and additional screening if you're lucky, because there's a possibility you will not even be able to go past the security checkpoint, which would not be a fun experience to say the least. But don't panic, because there is still a way to get through the TSA checkpoint if you do not have a Real ID. You can have 4 other forms of ID: a passport or passport card, a military ID, a global entry card, or a state-enhanced driver's license. And some good news here. TSA is actually saying that about 80% of the people they've already screened, they are Real ID compliant. So for the most part, most people have heeded the warning, and within the last 2 decades have gotten this. Marky?
Yeah, they did better than I did. All right, Alicia Nieves, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your.
All right. So like I said, I don't know how important this is to you hooligans. I've had mine for quite a while, but it is a pain in the ass to go to Secretary of State, or the DMV, I think is what they call it down south. It is a pain in the ass. So I figure we might as well just talk about the deadline coming up. Maybe you guys can get ahead of it. Next up, deadline looms for schools to cut DEI programs or risk losing their funding. Like I said, 16 states are refusing to comply with the DEI ban like a bunch of idiots. They love watching girls getting beat up in women's sports by dudes in dresses. They're big fans of it. Either way, it's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this Real ID situation. Russell, what is a state-enhanced license? I think it's what they used to call the Real ID. It used to be an enhanced license. Like when I got mine, that's what it was called. But now I think they're just calling it a Real ID. Air juicer, fuck all that. I mean, you'll be good as long as you're not trying to fly. Not like flying's that, fun anyways. So most people will be all right. Matt Rogers, I just renewed my license. Didn't pay extra for a Real ID because flying isn't required in life. Yeah. Yep. Cody, the Real ID is another scam. Yeah. Forcing us to have identification while the illegals just get free shit running around undocumented. Done. TSA can try and read my nutsack like tea leaves to find out who I am. I guess. I mean, I didn't know they were skilled like that, but you never know. Elder Zoomer, all I'm hearing is Alex Jones yelling, "Let the TSA grope your wife." Yep. I don't know. I haven't been on a plane in a really long time. It sucks. Being on planes sucks. Going to the airport sucks. Dealing with having people treat you like you're a criminal sucks. Pumpkin, I'm always hesitant to do something the government says it's required. Yeah. Stoner, I remember another group of people being forced to have stars. I remember. Yeah, they don't want to talk about that. Stoner, I'm going to draw a star on mine. That's all it takes. You'll be fine. Then they're going to try and get you for fraud. Remember when they were doing the vaccine cards and people started making counterfeit cards, and then they were threatening to give you fraudulent charges if you were caught with a fake vaccine card? It's funny how all that stuff just went away. Thank you, Snooks. I appreciate the compliment. Elder Zoomer, we used to have classy, sophisticated air travel. Yeah, I've never seen that, but we should get back to it. What's up, AR16? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Fitzy? Happy freedom to you. Too old to care, will not comply. Yeah, as long as you're not flying, I think we'll be all good. That's about it. That's for now. For now, eventually they probably will require it. or it'll just happen automatically when you renew your license. What's up, Willie Tough? Happy freedom. What's up, Genetic? Happy freedom to you. What's up, U-Town? Happy freedom. What's up, Vinny C? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Judo Joe Black? Happy freedom. Michigan's enhanced license lets you go to the park and go to Canada for free. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think the enhanced license is now considered the real ID. It used to be just enhanced. Now it's got the goofy little star on it. Yeah, I can't remember how much I paid for it. I paid like 40 or 50 bucks to get my enhanced license years ago. I was trying to go to Canada, and I thought it was all good until I got to the Canadian side, and they detained me. What's up, Tara? Happy freedom. What's up, Cinderella? What's up, Spirit Matter? What's up, Tim Mack? Happy freedom. What's up, everything? Happy freedom to you. Fitzy will drive safe. Make it home safely. Sage Pop here in Cali. All the new IDs issued will be real IDs. They have a little chip that can be tracked. Yeah, that's how my ID is. It comes in like an aluminum foil kind of casing. So if you walk by near frequency ID scanners or whatever, it doesn't accidentally get picked up. But yeah, I don't know. It's whatever. I think it's still harder to get a passport, but who knows. Either way, let's go ahead and get into this next video. Like I said, deadline looms for schools to cut DEI programs or risk losing their funding. Now, like I said, 16 states have already refused to comply with the DEI ban, so I hope they enjoy losing their funding. Either way, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommiTube, and let's get into this.
President Trump taking aim at reshaping K-12 education. Let's take a live look at the White House together, where the president just signed a flurry of executive orders on school funding and curriculum on Wednesday as his administration cracks down on DEI in the classroom. News Nation's Tom Dempsey has the latest from the White House this morning. Tom, good morning to you. Time is ticking on that deadline for America's schools to wipe out their DEI programs.
That's right. Good morning, Marky. This is one of those stories that could end up impacting schools where our viewers' children attend, because by the end of today, President Donald Trump and his team here at the White House want local school leaders to sign off saying that they have ended DEI programs at their schools. And here's the thing. If they don't do this, they risk possibly losing federal funding. Education Week has tracked this very closely. The responses from all the states across the country, and at least 16 states have declined to certify compliance. And over a dozen others are either still reviewing the order or have not issued a statement. The Department of Education gave state school agencies this deadline to certify they are following President Trump's guidelines, specifically mentioning DEI programs that, quote, advantage one's race over another as a violation. This move has led to some pushback, though, with the National Education Association accusing the White House of punishing students and teachers in schools for fostering inclusive classrooms. But on the other side of this, the Department of Education has claimed some schools and even some colleges, for that matter, use DEI programs to discriminate against some students. So universities and colleges are also part of this push. Through a series of executive orders, the president ordered tougher enforcement on laws, requiring colleges to disclose their financial ties to foreign sources. Another order targets college accreditors, which allows universities to access federal financial aid for students. The president demanding the termination or suspension of accreditors that base their standards on DEI and not on merit. This week, over 150 university presidents and school presidents signed off on a letter accusing President Donald Trump of overreach and political interference. Marky?
Thank you for watching.
Do you think this is government overreach and political interference? I don't understand. I don't understand at all. I don't know how they can pretend like race-based placement is something that's okay. Like, they cry about racism, but then all they care about is race. They want to give people promotions based on skin color, not on the merit. I don't know. Apparently, they should stop crying every time an airplane falls out of the sky, or they should stop crying every time something bad happens because some unqualified piece of shit was put in charge. They should just enjoy that, and just enjoy when bad things happen, because a lot of bad things that happen around us is because of the DEI crap. They're causing these problems, and they're the first ones to cry about it, and they blame Trump. Oh, it's Trump's fault that this bad stuff's happening. No, it's DEI's fault. We need to get rid of that. There's no reason to be focusing so much on race. It doesn't matter. Next up, Supreme Court to hear case concerning LGBTQZ books in public schools. I wish they would just get rid of these books. Now, in this situation, these books are provided to students that are between kindergarten and I think 5th grade. So in those age groups, what do they need to know about LGBTQZ? That doesn't make any sense. But the Supreme Court's going to be talking about it pretty soon. It's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this DEI deadline looming over these states that are refusing to participate. They better just go ahead and get with the ban. Cody, why bad things happen to good people? Yeah, because they want it to happen. Thank you, Pumpkin. I appreciate the compliment. What's up, Turbo? Happy freedom to you. I'll just assume they really got to start arresting people. I mean, they got to do something. Like I'm saying, near the end, we got this story about this judge that was housing and providing guns to this TDA illegal. Now, I don't know if they were trying to raise him like he was one of their own or what. But he resigned, and that's the news. Now, I don't know if he's actually going to be charged or not, but he should. He's allowing illegals to hang on to his firearms, use his firearms, and he's aiding and abetting them, so why wouldn't he get charged? But it doesn't sound like he's going to get charged. I don't know if it's because he's a judge. I don't know if it's because he's a Democrat. I don't know if it's all of the above. It's not right. I know that. Anytime I mess up, they don't hesitate to throw me in jail. Never know what's going on Twitch. What's up, Corey Luca? Happy freedom. Corey Luca, what happened? You smoked a turkey? Is that what happened? Is that what you're saying to me, Corey Luca? I hope you're okay if that's what you're saying. What's up, MAGA24? Happy freedom. Juggalo, Washington will not follow. They like the DEI. Yeah. Well, it's much easier to get a promotion based on your skin color. You're just the right color, so you get a promotion. Or you get to be the lead at your job. Or maybe you get a pay raise just because you're the right color. Well, yeah, that's way easier than working your ass off and trying to be a better person. Who wants to do that? That's nonsense. What's up, DP? Happy freedom to you. DP, I'm like General Flynn. Things are becoming very concerning after witnessing no one being arrested. Yeah. Well, I hope you're all right, Corey Luca. I'm sure smoking a turkey is not very fun. I haven't smoked a turkey. I've hit 3 or 4 deer since I've been driving, though. That last one was the worst. Russell, I didn't see an Amazon package. Maybe it's in my mailbox. I'll have to check after the live. Thank you for letting me know, Russell. What's up, Appeal to Heaven? Happy freedom. Sage Pup smoked a turkey. What type of rolling papers did he use? It's hard to say. Some parchment paper. Too old to care. Still looking for my white privilege. I got white privilege cards around here somewhere. I found I didn't know until Here Juice just sent me my cards, and it's official now. Wigglytuff promotion is on merit and should never be about skin color. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Tara, in my opinion, the very day that we the people see public arrests is the day that that we begin to trust again. I mean, it would be a start in the right direction, but I don't think it's going to happen at this point. I really thought that we would vote for Trump and we would get the Epstein files and we would see politicians go into jail and things start changing, but all we've seen is how many people can really stand in the way of what the president is doing. And I've been kind of thinking about that all day, is that like it really sucks that we got who we voted for, but we can't get what we voted for because the entire rest of the country is against him. And that means that he's against us. And that's bullshit. Like, I didn't realize how bad it was until every single executive order that President Trump signs just doesn't do anything. He might as well just be writing on a napkin and throwing it in the trash. It just doesn't do anything. Judges stand in the way, left and right. Every single thing is being stifled or stopped. Like, what's the point? What's the point? Apparently, the country is already hijacked when what the president wants to happen doesn't happen. I mean, what else is there to do at this point? All right, hooligans. Like I said, we're going to move forward. This next one here is Supreme Court to hear case concerning LGBTQXYZ books in public school. And like I said, this is between kindergarten, I think they might even say pre-K, so like Head Start or beginner garden, all the way up to 4th or 5th grade. I don't think they need to be reading content based on being a shapeshifter and goofy shit like that. They're children. They do not know anything about sexual anything, and they shouldn't know anything about it. But leave it to these lunatics to make some decisions here. Go ahead and hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommiTube, and let's get into this.
5 children's books featuring LGBTQ characters aimed at grades K through 5 have roiled a suburban Maryland school district and led to a Supreme Court case that the justices will hear on Tuesday. Parents in Montgomery County who object for religious reasons want to pull their children from elementary school classes that use the books.
Parents are not comfortable having their children exposed to these things at such an early age. I mean, we're talking about pre-K and elementary school kids. These are not adults or young children in their youth who are matured enough that the parents have agreed to put in these classes. These are kids that do not even know what the terms mean.
The county school system has refused, and lower courts have so far agreed. But the outcome could be different at a high court dominated by conservative justices who have repeatedly endorsed claims of religious discrimination in recent years.
In this country, there's been a long tradition of recognizing that parents get to parent and direct the upbringing of their kids, and especially when it comes to the religious upbringing of their kids. And I think this case is an opportunity for the court to reaffirm that longstanding tradition.
The parents argue that public schools can't force kids to participate in instruction that violates their faith. They point to opt-out provisions in sex education and note that the district originally allowed parents to pull their children when the storybooks were being taught, before abruptly reversing course.
Our hope is that the justices see that this is a common sense. We're not asking for anything special, and that they restore the opt-out for parents so they can parent.
In court papers, lawyers for the schools wrote that the handful of storybooks are not sex education materials, but, quote, rather tell everyday tales of characters who experience adventure, confront new emotions, and struggle to make themselves heard.
I like their little deal there at the end. They're like, well, it's not sexual content. It's just describing shapeshifters who feel like they don't belong in the world. Oh, yeah. Let's have kindergartners reading books with characters who feel like they don't belong in the world, that nobody hears them, that they're being left out, and that their voices aren't heard. Why? Why would you want kids reading that? Why would you want kids relating to that material? Because that's what all of us do. When we read things or we watch things, we always put ourselves in that position and go, is that me? Like, what would I do in this situation? I think it's just our natural human instinct to behave like that. But if you're a child, you don't have a whole lot of knowledge of how the world works. So you're very impressionable. Why would you want them reading content about despair to see if they can relate to it or not? Kids can't even read, right? They're like, we're talking kindergartners. They're learning ABCs. Why would you want them to read that kind of material? Might as well put death in there or dismemberment. Why not? Some drug, material in there. This is how you light a crack pipe. Like, why not? Why not? Like, these people are crazy. We wonder why people are all messed up. And then look at the material that they're fighting to keep in schools. What are we going to look like in 20 years? We got 5-year-olds reading about, Timmy doesn't know if he's a boy or a dog or a zebra and this, that, and the other. What is it going to be like when they're like 25, 30 years old? You got to work with these people. Half the young people right now can't read analog clocks. Like people who are around 20 years old, maybe just under 20 years old, they can't even read analog clocks. They don't know what the small hand or the big hand means. Like, it's going to get worse. We have to get rid of these books. We need to get rid of the DEI crap. We got to get rid of it. And I remember saying this last year and being like, all we got to do is vote for President Trump. Now we're fighting all the damn judges. Like, I don't know how to beat this. Like, I have no idea how to beat this. Next up, Congress weighs plant-based milks in school lunches. I'm sorry, we don't have good news today. There's just no good news. It's just dumb and dumber today. Anyways, it's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about these LGBTXYZ books that they're trying to feed to kindergartners, between kindergarten and 5th grade. Jesus loves us, Russell. I can't read that out loud, but yeah, that's basically what they're trying to... I can't believe it. Holy, that's a good one, Russell. Russell, those kids do not need to be reading those books. No. And like I said, they can't even read. So we're talking a couple words per page, maybe, mostly pictures, animation of sorts, to display the storyline. And it's about not belonging. Because that's what all of that stuff is, right? You think you're a boy in a girl's body or vice versa. Or you want to wear a dress or you want to walk on all fours and shit in a litter box. Either way, you're saying God made you wrong and that you don't have a place in the world. Like, why would you feed that to a kindergartner? Life's hard enough. Most of them can't wipe their own ass. We're going to give them this reading content? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. Snooks, there's great news. You have a tank top. Well, I'm glad you appreciate it, Snooks. Stoner, plant juice isn't milk. Yeah, I've been trying to figure out almond milk. Like, I don't understand how that works. It tastes okay, but I don't understand. Stoner, Professor Oak has an island? I can't think of what Professor Oak's island's called. It's not his, though. He just lives there. I can't remember what it's called now. Damn it. I'm going to have to Google it. Shroomish. When will they start letting kids be cutters and cut their wrists? It's the same thing. Yeah, exactly. They should just talk about being depressed and hurting themselves. These people are crazy. They're crazy. They just want death and destruction. That's all Democrats do is death and destruction. Killing babies and burning down cities. They should make it their slogan. Told Kira never tried to milk an almond. I mean, I never have either. Rappy, God doesn't make mistakes. Right. These people don't have a God, though. They don't believe in capital G God. They pray to the internet. Kevin, I exist because I know it pisses somebody off. That's why I go live every day. I don't know why. I just piss people off. I was actually talking with someone today about all of that I run the live like I'm a professor teaching a class, not like I'm a character trying to provide entertainment. Maybe that's why it causes people to walk away. I say things that may not be easily accepted, but I don't say it to be offensive. I say it because I think it's true or because I want people to be better. I want to live in a good world, so I try to be a good person. I talk about the things, the struggles, the ideas of what it's like to be a good person, and sometimes that makes people uncomfortable and walk away. And I don't want to push them away. I want them to think about the things that I'm saying and maybe make some changes in their life so they can be a good person, because that's how you make the world a better place. But instead, I just offend everybody, piss everyone off, and then people don't come back. I don't know. It is what it is. Russell, have you tried to milk an almond? Their tits are too small. I don't. I I got fat fingers. I couldn't do it. I just wouldn't be able to do it. Can't milk an almond. Pumpkin, little kids are easily manipulated. Yeah. That's like those liberals that get on camera and they're like, yeah, little Timmy told me when he was 1.5 years old that he wanted to be a shapeshifter. Like, what? And then you see little Timmy wearing a dress with eyeliner and shit, and he's like, yeah. I'm like, you poor little kid. Being messed up by these coexist people. Screaming Eagle, it's called a judicial coup. Trump is conducting military ops. No judge can interfere with that. Yeah, but they're letting him. It is hot here today. I don't know if it's hot where you are, but we actually hit 70 degrees here in Michigan. I think it's finally spring over here. What's up, Jay Spray? Happy Freedom. Shroomish, almond milk is just ground up almonds with water, essentially. Well, that's good as long as that's all it is. But you know how they make our food. There's probably 19 other ingredients in there that don't need to be there. Done. I was arguing with Grok about shapeshifters the other day. It was using Wikipedia as a source. Yeah, AI is not as smart as they give it credit for. AR-16, it's 84 where you are. Well, enjoy that nice weather. I'd be melting at 84. Wiggly Tough, Twitch is flagging your comments. Too honest, I guess. What's up, TBD? Happy Freedom to you. What's up, Kurt? Happy Freedom to you. What's up, Jay Mitchell? Happy Freedom. Almond milk is nut juice. Don't say it like that. Come on, man. Holy. What's up, Manic Miner? Happy Freedom. The people we used to lock into mental institutions are now teaching your kids. Yeah, we need to undo that. What's up, Deborah? What's up, Rhonda? How about schools going back to teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic? Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing is we get through half the year and then we start covering videos about how more than half of America can't read, write, and do math. But it's like we spend the rest of the time covering news about how schools are abusing kids. They're misleading them. They're holding secrets from parents. They're giving them ideas like, oh, Timmy, you were supposed to be born a girl. Don't you know that? I'm going to sneak you in some dresses and you can wear dresses at school, but we won't tell your parents. And then they wonder why they can't read, write, and do math. It's because we don't have teachers. We have people indoctrinating our kids. Terra, perpetual victims. Yeah. It's their own. That's the only identity that they can hold on to. What's up, Find and Fix It? Happy Freedom. What's up, Tube State? Tube State Conservative Court? That's a laugh. Yeah. They ruled that it was okay for the White House to contact social media groups to tell them who to censor and who not to censor. And then they were like, that's not government overreach. Like, what do you mean? MAGA 24. If the Supreme Court agrees with these psychos, there will be precedent for all liberal states to do this, and it will be law that they have to view these books in class. We need to stop this. Absolutely. What's up, Tactical? Happy Freedom. They have pop-up books. Yeah, see, and that's exactly what I mean. Like, they're trying to reach children that aren't old enough to read so they can brainwash them that early. So by the time they're 20, there's no one doing the damage that's been done. What's up, DB Cooper? Happy Freedom. Never bend the knee to evildoers. Absolutely. I'll check it out, Snugs. Astrohammer, it's 80 degrees in Lansing Metro. Holy. Don't melt on us, Astrohammer. Happy Freedom to you. Air 16, need to figure out how to put the toothpaste back in the tube. You need to wash it down the drain. That's what we need to do. Stoner, that ain't even related. Stoner, a lot of cute kids grow up to be ugly, like the Sixth Sense kid or Macaulay Culkin. Just totally unrelated. Some of us grow up ugly, Stoner. There's nothing we can do about it. What's up, Winston? Happy Freedom to you. We all can't be as pretty as Stoner. drama. Oh well, I'll have to worry about it in a second. Let's go ahead and get to this next one. Like I said, Congress weighs plant-based milks in school lunches. I don't know. Sounds like more useless bullshit in a facility where kids can't read, write, or do math. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you hooligans really quick. If you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out, because we're making Saturdays more fun. We're going to have so many memes this week because we didn't do Coffee with Hooligans last Saturday. We went to that protest. Oh, somebody asked me about the Trump rally that's happening on Tuesday. It's on the other side of the state. So I'm not going to be able to go in person, but what that means is we will be able to cover it on the live. So it's still a win. Either way, once again, this is Congress weighs plant-based milks in school lunches. Hit that like button if you got one, and let's get into this.
Welcome back, everybody, on your Thursday morning. A decades-long battle continues on Capitol Hill. And the question is, should milk still be required in school lunches? Plant-based alternatives are gaining popularity, but they're not funded by the government. Not yet, at least. News Nation's Elizabeth Pran is keeping tabs on this big dairy debate. Elizabeth, you have school-age kids. I'm not quite there yet. How strict are the rules about the milk being served in school cafeterias today?
I mean, it's pretty strict, Marquis. Under the National School Lunch Program, if you want federal funding, you must have milk options. So it's called the milk mandate. But really, if you look at some of these stats, kids and really all of us are just not drinking milk like we used to. There's been a huge decline in consumption since the 70s. Certainly, that's not the reason for the debate, but I mean, you could take it into consideration. I mean, Congress has been debating whether or not to switch to these plant-based alternatives. So there's two sides to every story. You have the milk supporters who say this is the perfect drink. It's got all the essential nutrients. It helps out American farmers. And this is even with the scrutiny, because schools used to offer whole milk, but then there was some criticism that there was too much saturated fat. So now you have the lower fat options. But you do have these plant-based advocates, these lobbyists on Capitol Hill. They point to lactose intolerant kids and that dairy-free options would have less class disruptions and less health issues. So schools do offer plant-based milks now, so like a soy milk for families that have a note. If you don't have a note, they do have lactose-free milk options for kids. But what we're hearing from these lobbyists is that they want these plant-based alternatives to be more mainstream. Marquis?
And then, Elizabeth, the FDA just announced that it's suspending milk quality testing. So how is that going to impact what's offered on campus?
I mean, it's all going to be a trickle-down effect, right? So if you look at Health and Human Services, there was a cut tens of thousands, and that's going to trickle down to the FDA. The FDA has these laboratories, they have inspectors, and of course, that is going to impact what you see at the grocery store, because if you get that carton of milk, it has that grade A label on it. What we're hearing from the FDA is that representatives will be in communication with DC, that they will keep these laboratories open. They're just trying to find new ways to streamline the process. Marquis?
Okay, keep us posted on what you hear. Elizabeth Pran, thank you so much.
Thank you for watching.
Okay. So what do you think? We need some plant-based milk for these kids that can't read, write, or do math, and they're reading gay books? I mean, I didn't put it on the schedule for it to go in order like that, but that's how things are going apparently. And again, we're at the end of the school year, so I'm not sure why there's so much school talk going on. Maybe that's the point. Supreme Court and Congress and all of this, they want to go and make changes that'll be all ready for the next school year. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to think that these people actually plan anything. The shadow government does, but these assholes we see on Capitol Hill, I think they're just pawns. Anyways, next up we got Representative Kevin Kiley, I think it is, praises Yale's overnight crackdown on pro-Palestinian protest. Yesterday we covered a video showing Yale's campus with a bunch of pro-Hamas protesters out there. They were singing in Swahili and whatever else they were doing out there, building a little encampment. Well, at 11 o'clock last night, they went and tore that shit down. People are being punished. They are not allowed to do that. It is against their policy to allow these people to behave that way. I guess they were also preventing Jewish students from entering the campus, or at least coming into the doors where they were all camped out. And like I said, these students supposedly are being punished. So this is a nice change of pace. It's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this plant-based milk for school lunches. Seems unnecessary to me. Snooks, when do the parents get to say no to just plant-based milk if they don't want to? You would think that there would be a way to opt out. Now, they're trying to blame it on lactose intolerant. Like, if you got kids that are lactose intolerant and all you got is milk for lunch or breakfast or whatever, then those aren't enough options. So, I mean, that kind of makes sense. When I was younger, they always provide juice. You get juice or milk. It was one or the other. There wasn't no plant-based milk. It wasn't like milk from the mouse. I mean, it wasn't anything like that. So I don't know why we need this all of a sudden, but I think it's a little bit more about the funding than anything else. They have to have cow milk in order to get federal funding, and so I think they're just trying to change the language to make it so they could offer other things. But it's always a slippery slope when we have politicians changing the lingo to try and add in different items because they focus so much on semantics. They worry about their labels, and then they constantly change the definition of these labels. And so it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It's hard to say. Like I said, when I was in school, you could have milk or you could have juice. If you're lactose intolerant, here's a juice. Like, that's, I don't know. So it sounds like this is more about funding than anything else, but you always got to worry about this stuff because politicians never have good intentions for our kids. Russell, yeah, we had chocolate milk too. Yeah, that's what we had. I don't know why they were using footage from like the 80s in that video there. Russell, when I was in school, all they had was whole milk or skim milk. See, and I don't even remember having the option of skim milk, but I was always worried about other things when I was in the lunch line. I was never paying attention. Russell, at my house as a kid, we went through 2 or 3 gallons of milk a week. Yeah, I used to drink a lot of milk when I was younger. Now it upsets my stomach, so I don't really be drinking milk. Josh 1776, they're just trying to brainwash kids into liking plant milk so they become lifelong buyers. Yep. That and the cricket burgers, about a year ago or something, we were covering like back-to-back news videos talking about insect-based meat. And some stores were already selling it. You could get bug burgers and stuff like that. I never found it. Even when I go to Walmart now, I still look for that stuff. It's where tofu is. So when you go to Walmart, you go to any grocery store, these bug-based burgers, if they're there, they will be where the tofu is. All that synthetic food, that's where the bug-based burgers are. Now, not everywhere sells them, but there supposedly is places here in the U.S. that does sell them as like vegan friendly, or maybe not vegan friendly, but you know, that kind of stuff, alternative eating and whatnot. They don't sell that stuff around here, but good. Good. I don't want no bug burgers. Josh 1776, we had chocolate milk, white milk, OJ. That's what we had when I was younger. Same thing. Snooks, I don't like milk. I only use it for cooking or cereal. Yeah, I haven't ate cereal in a long time. Astra Hammer, if it has protein in it when it normally doesn't, then you know it has the bugs in it. Yep. Russell, I like titties, so I like milk. It's not Saturday. There's a lot of things I want to say back to that, Russell, but we'll wait for Saturday. Everyone loves Z-boobs. What's up, Tony Rez? Happy freedom. Love cheese, but can't stand drinking milk. Yeah. I've realized I can't taste cheese because I can't smell or taste anything. I'm working on the smell kit, but it says it takes 12 weeks before my senses will get retrained. Hopefully it works. But I've realized I can't taste cheese. And if I eat food and put cheese on it, I'm masking the little bit of flavor I can taste in food. So I've kind of cut back on eating cheese. Totally care, whole milk, no 2% or anything other. Yeah. When I used to buy milk, I used to always buy whole milk. Sage Pub, lactose intolerance started with hormones and other things that they put in the milk. Hormone-free pasteurized milk is the best. I've had Fairlife, I think it's called, and it's supposed to be like lactose-free milk or something, and that stuff's actually okay. I was really surprised. I got chocolate milk, so I didn't use it for cooking or anything like that. I was just drinking it, but that seems okay. I don't know if it's good for you or not, though. Elder Zoomer, I switched to whole milk, never look back. Yeah. David, happy freedom to you. Was it gums? What is it? Carrageen? Carrageen, I don't know, is etc. as plant milks. I've never heard of that. Winston Strawberry Quick ruled. I want a jar of Tang or maybe some Nutter Butter Peanut Butter Sandwich Cookies by Nabisco. I've never had any of that stuff. I know what Tang is. I threw it up one time. I've never drank it since. It's been a long time. They still sell Tang? Cody, I've been known to eat a barfly or two, and sex are bad. Yeah, I always end up eating bugs while I'm disc golfing. One time I went to pick my disc up from the ground, and I was talking, because imagine that. And I was over there yapping, and I leaned down, and when I leaned down, a grasshopper jumped right down my throat. And I was like, I couldn't do anything but swallow the damn thing. Swallowed it whole. I don't know. I hope he had a good time. Take me out to dinner first. You know what I'm saying? Stoner vodka and Tang. That sounds like throw up. Wiggly Tough, you ever had Iron Brew? Nope, I've never heard of Iron Brew. Wiggly Tough banana chocolate milk? That sounds good. What's up, Cat? Happy freedom to you. Cat, I'm in Atlanta and there were items on the shelf made from bugs. Yeah. See, I knew there was places around here that got that stuff, but I haven't found it near me. As soon as I do, I'm going to be taking pictures and making a big deal out of it because that's what I do. Genetic, as a Muslim, it goes against my religion to drink plant-based milk. To each their own. What's up, Lone Wolf? Happy freedom. Bugs are like missiles on a motorcycle. Yeah, I remember my dad. He was riding a motorcycle and he got a bee stuck, like nailed him and stuck to his face and like side of his head all swole up and stuff. Yep. I'd like to have a motorcycle, but I just don't want to die on one. And people around here drive terribly, so it's everyone else's fault. I can't have a motorcycle. What's up, Agent O? Happy freedom. Tactical soy milk. Yeah. Blonde beard, I feel so bad for you. Cheese is my favorite food. Well, I'm hoping one day I'll get my senses back. Steve asks, did they say anything about milk being in plastic containers instead of glass? No. Yeah, and we just covered not that long ago about those microplastics, but I highly doubt they're going to do anything to change that microplastic situation we're in. Garden, they just want to chemically castrate the next generation. Yeah. Yes, they do. It's the same thing with the fluoride in the water. They're like, yeah, we know that it creates lower IQ, but we can't make people take the fluoride out of the water. We can only suggest it. Like, what? What does that mean? That's like the people who are defending the dyes being removed from food. RFK Jr. just removed like 8 or 9 dyes from food. It's supposed to get eliminated over the next 2 years. And there's Democrats out there that are just like, oh, no, we need it so our food is colorful and eye-catching. Yeah, let's leave the poison in the food so it's pretty. I don't know. People are stupid. Astro Hammer, Jeff Mack ain't got no sense. I don't. Can't afford it. Can't afford it. All right, we'll get into this next one. Like I said, this is a follow-up video. This is Representative Kevin Kiley. I don't know where I got Kenny from. Kevin Kiley praises Yale's overnight crackdown on pro-Palestinian protest. I didn't know they were going to do it in 24 hours. I figured they were going to lose their funding first, but nope, I was wrong. Hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
So over at the White House today, education in the spotlight, just within the past hour or so here. The president signing a number of executive orders aimed at higher education. 2 of them, for example, include requiring schools to disclose foreign gifts and mandating university accreditation to be merit-based. And one of the most prestigious universities in this entire country right now, also in the headlines. New anti-Israel protests at Yale University, the latest in a series at Ivy League schools. Last night, that was the scene right there. A crowd of about 200 gathered on the campus in New Haven, Connecticut. The protesters put up tents in protest of a Jewish organization's upcoming talk near the university with Israel's security minister. The school ordered them to disband by 11 o'clock at night, threatening action, which prompted the group to abandon ship and vowing not to stay out all night. Yale putting out a statement today saying that the gathering, quote, was not authorized by the university and is not known to be affiliated with any recognized student organization. They say the group's activities violated Yale's time, place, and manner policies. Now, the protest there, of course, comes on the heels of the Trump administration revoking over $2 billion in taxpayer funding for Harvard after that school refused demands by the administration to tackle what the administration says is things like anti-Semitism, DEI, and more. Harvard has since filed suit against the Trump administration. Now, before that, the administration also revoked $500 million from Columbia over anti-Semitism concerns as well. All this bringing Yale into the focus. The Education Department recently opened up a second investigation into anti-Semitism at the university, which is often a pipeline to power in D.C. For example, several presidents graduated from Yale. So too did the current vice president, J.D. Vance. Here now, the Republican California Congressman Kevin Kiley, who, by the way, holds a Yale law degree, also sits on the Education and Workforce Committee. First time on the show, I believe. Congressman, thanks for being with us tonight.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
So there was this pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel organization at your alma mater last night. Yale basically said, get out of there. It ended at 11 o'clock last night. Obviously, a much different scene than what we saw in 2024. Do you think Yale handled this right? Do you give them kudos?
Well, let's start with the positives. So, starting with the very negative is that the scenes that we saw are absolutely horrifying. But starting with the positives, as far as the university's response, they did go out and they broke the encampment up pretty quickly. They're subjecting those who are present to disciplinary action. They've now revoked the official university sponsorship of the Yale's for Palestine group, which is this anti-Semitic pro-terrorist organization. So all of that, as you say, stands in stark contrast to the scenes that we saw play out last year, where you had these prolonged encampments that would last for weeks or for months with ongoing incidents of violence and discrimination and violations of civil liberties. So that's all good. The university came out with a pretty strong statement today, which I think is good as well. But I will say, when you have video evidence of Jewish students being blocked by these pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic protesters from simply moving about their own campus, we need to have a stronger response than what the university said.
So what do you think?
Anything more abhorrent.
Yeah. So what do you think Yale should do? You sit on the education committee that's looked into these anti-Semitic events on college campuses. What might your committee do?
Well, any student who is blocking another student from moving about campus, blocking their freedom of movement based upon their identity, based upon who they are, which is what has clearly happened in that video, they need to be immediately expelled. The university should make that very clear. They should also be prosecuted. I don't know who the district attorney in New Haven is right now, but it's hard to imagine more abhorrent behavior than that. But more fundamentally, and Yale has had a lot of very, very troubling incidents like this. I think that the new administration has been better than a lot of other administrations across the country, at least in terms of transparency, but it points to a much more deeply rooted problem in higher education, where you have these institutions of higher learning have become the epicenter in this revival of one of the world's most abhorrent and retrograde ancient prejudices of anti-Semitism. We have to ask ourselves, how has that happened? And I think that question needs to guide us towards the fundamental reforms in American higher education that we're starting to see happen now.
We started
Okay. Like I said yesterday, we covered a video showing those protesters hanging out on the Yale campus there, and I thought our follow-up video was going to be Trump taking away their funding, but they hurried up, got out there, and kicked those protesters out at 11 o'clock last night. Good for them. About time they start standing up for equality on campus. I don't know why they think it's okay for a bunch of students to group up in the front yard and hang out and say who can and can't come on campus. Like, they're fine with it when they're restricting Jewish people from coming on campus, but what if it was any other race? Would they be okay with that? Would that be a good thing? Like, these people are stupid. And like we brought up yesterday, a lot of these Ivy School League presidents or leaders, whatever it is, the top of the food chain for these schools, had to speak before Congress, and they played a bunch of semantics, acting like they didn't know what racism was, and being biased and discriminating against specific students versus others and stuff like that. There was, oh, well, we don't know, blah, blah. Try to play stupid. I think we saw the president of Harvard step down. It was one of the schools. It might not have been Harvard. Maybe it was Columbia University. But we watched one of the presidents of one of these schools resign last year after getting in front of Congress or Senate or whoever it was to explain that these protests on their campus and stuff. So I wasn't going to be surprised if they continued this behavior. We see the same thing with the sanctuary cities. They went to go speak before Congress, and then they went back to their sanctuary cities and didn't change anything. They even admitted to breaking federal laws. Doesn't matter. Still went back, started sympathizing with illegals and stuff. So I wasn't going to be surprised if these college campuses were going to continue to allow pro-Hamas protests and encampments and autonomous zones and stuff like that. So I'm kind of surprised that Yale actually went out there and cracked down on those protesters. And like they said in the video, these students are actually going to be held accountable. They're going to be punished in one way or another. I don't know if the punishment is going to be as steep as it should be, but at least there's something. Somebody's doing the right thing. It's about time. Either way, next up we got, do not let them trick you into thinking we are enemies. This is it looks like a campaign video. It's out by AOC, and this has got people thinking that she's gearing up to run for 2028. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about the pro-Hamas protesters over at Yale. What's up, Zero? What's up, 10 Man? Happy freedom. Let's go, Brandon. Free speech includes speech you don't like. I can be against what Israel is doing, but not hate Jewish people. Speech shouldn't be censored at all, in my opinion. Yeah, the speech shouldn't be censored, but attacking other students, restricting them from being able to move freely across campus, building autonomous zones based around hate, that kind of stuff I think is going too far. Same thing with sympathizing with terrorists. A lot of these pro-Palestinian protesters are pro-Hamas. So again, they're sympathizing with terrorists and stuff. And that's what Mahmoud Khalil got picked up for, is these kind of protests right here. He was an activist, so he was starting these protests. But he has actual ties to Palestine's government and all this other stuff, which is why he's in trouble right now, lying on his visa and all of that. No, speech shouldn't be censored, but these hate groups shouldn't be allowed to set up shop right out front on campus. It just doesn't make any sense. Same thing with restricting other students and stuff. Like saying, hey, you can't go into this building because you're white. You know, nobody would like that. It's not fair on any way. This discrimination is what's wrong. Appeal to heaven. The school just follows the orders to get more funds, just saying, yeah, they're absolutely just complying for the sake of money. But like we were covering the DEI video earlier in the live, let me see, I got a note here. 16 states refused to comply with the DEI ban. So even if Yale is doing this for the money, not everybody would. So, I mean, even if they are doing it for the money, at least they're doing the right thing. The reason they're doing it may not be right, but at least they're still, walking like a duck, because we need them to walk like a duck. Snooks, did you say that Jews were a race? Yes. They're what? Yes. People could be religious as Jewish, but being Jewish is also a race. It's a skin color. What's up, Metal Mouth? Happy freedom. Sherman, just wait till they ban us from talking shit about our government. We already pretty much can't talk shit about certain foreign countries, which is crazy. I don't know. I think that we can talk about most countries. I think we're already in a position where you can't really say shit about the government. You say too much bad stuff about the government, some 3-letter agency will come knock on your door. You post a meme that is funny enough, and they'll come knock on your door, unless you're a Democrat. If you're a Democrat, that you could talk about putting hits on people and celebrating Luigi Mangione and all that, shooting that CEO, and nobody cares. But if you're not a Democrat, then, you got to watch out. What's up, Little Eagle? Happy Freedom. What's up, Nobilis? Garden protest, yes, but when you block others from freedom of movement or speech, you cross the line. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're interfering with other people. What's up, Itchy? Happy Freedom to you. Totally care. Good and bad in all people? Absolutely. What's up, Best B? Happy Freedom to you. Metalmouth, I'm hearing the siren that tells us that we're either having a severe weather or a tornado. Good thing my fiance and I are inside. Well, hopefully the weather doesn't get that bad, Metalmouth. We got a siren that plays here at noon every day, but I've never actually heard it used for weather. I think it's what it's for, but either way. What's up, Southern Eagleman? Happy Freedom. What's up, Contempt? Happy Freedom to you. Contempt, it doesn't seem that Google agrees. I don't care what Google agrees with. Not at all. All right, hooligans. We'll go ahead and move on to this next one. Like I said, this is a weird promotional video that AOC put out, and it's got a lot of people thinking that she's going to be running in 2028 for president. That'll be hilarious. It'll be, highly disappointing if she actually wins. I wonder who else is going to be running. This is titled, "Do Not Let Them Trick You Into Thinking We Are Enemies." Hit the like button over on Rumble as well as the CommiTube, and let's get into this.
You know, Idaho, I am so touched being here. I'm a girl from the Bronx. To be welcomed here in this state, all of us together, seeing our common cause, this is what this country is all about. Don't let them trick us into thinking we are enemies. Don't let them trick us into thinking we can be separated into rural and urban, black and white and Latino. We are one.
Alexandria, they told us this was a conservative state. They got it wrong.
And Idaho, I know that looking around here, it can feel impossible for Republicans out here to be defeated. That's not true. It's simply not true. And from the waitress who is now speaking to you today from this podium, I can tell you, impossible is nothing.
And as Alexandria just said, when we stand together, when we do not allow them to divide us up, there is no stopping us.
Miracles start with mustard seeds, and that is what each and every one of you represent today. Small miracles of faith in ourselves, in each other, and in the refusal to give up.
Prostitute. Come on, man.
Okay, like I said, this video is circulating the internet right now has got a lot of people thinking that she's going to be trying to run for president. Oh, let me pull this up really quick. I don't know if you guys will be able, you might be able to see it. This is the post here over on X. This is from Team AOC. And a lot of people noticed right here how it says, don't let them trick you into thinking that we can be separated into rural and urban, black, white, and Latino. We are one, right? But then when people are noticing this part right here, where black and Latino starts with a capital letter, but white does not. White is completely lowercase. So there is a lot of people crying about racism because of that post, because of that specific little deal right there. And so people are saying that she's a racist and this, that, and the other. Now, maybe it's a typo. Maybe they did it intentionally. I don't know. We know they don't like white people, so I don't know. It's whatever. But it will be pretty humorous to see her running for president in 2028 if that's really what is going to happen. Now, I do not want her to win at all. Like, things will be so ass backwards. Things are already kind of disappointing right now. So to have AOC win would be a fucking nightmare. But either way, next up we got MSNBC's Simone Sanders Townsend. I don't know what the hell that means, but either way, claims that Trump admin could target black American citizens for deportation. So now they're telling the normies that if you're a black American, you're going to be deported by President Trump. That's great. Love that. Anyways, coming up next, first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this AOC promotional video. Zero rent a crowd. Yeah, absolutely. Astra Hammer, she said Idaho. She was just letting everybody know. Yeah, Astra Hammer, I can't even believe that people believe that stuff. Like, they're just, everybody's getting deported. You make Trump mad, you're getting deported. That just doesn't make any sense. Tony Rez, the prostitute timing was perfect. Awesome. Glad I nailed it. Elder Zoomer, we're cooked if she takes the Oval Office. Yes. I don't know what life will look like. Could she really be worse than Old Man Walter? Sage Pup, AOC can't count to 11 without taking off her shoes and asking help from a friend. I know, you're not wrong. Hey, thanks for being here, Best B. What's up, Poetic? Happy freedom to you. Metal Mouse, she probably had every one of those audience members bust in. Absolutely. Absolutely. We saw that for the DNC and all that stuff. They had a packed arena. And oh my God, it's so great. And then Hyena Harris fell flat on her face. And it's because they faked all those rallies and stuff. Let's Go Brandon, paid for by the deep state. Absolutely. Using tax doll hairs. Ghostly, she's going to run not to win, but for the money. Probably. She better not do the stunts that Hyena Harris did. Hyena Harris is still struggling to pay off that debt. She spent I can't remember how much it was, like $22 million on her campaign or something, and just went into debt. Elder Zoomer, good lord, her voice is annoying. Yeah. I don't like when she starts talking like Martin Luther King. She starts like going off like she had a dream or something. But her voice is tremolos, really in a not likable way. I'm trying to think, because she did something a couple months ago before Inauguration Day. She was out there screaming on stage about something, and her voice was doing the same thing. She tries to sound like she's preaching, and it just sounds bad. It just doesn't sound good. And that video at the end had a lot of that. Shroomish 2.2 billion? I thought it was 22 million. I don't know. We covered a lot right after the inauguration. Astro Hammer, I guess AOC is the best that they got for now. We'll see, Snooks. 0, they're going to spend the next 3.5 years trying to make her look smart. That's a monumental task. They might try and make her look stylish, though. That's the thing is, when you put a woman in a campaign to run for president or anything high up, they don't use the same tactics as they do with a man. When they put a man and he could be the president of the United States, he could be a congressman, he could be a governor, he could be the mayor, they want him to look fit, they want him to look smart, they want him to look strong and tough and able to make hard decisions. But not women. It doesn't work with women. They got to be stylish and pretty and have charisma and stuff. Like, it's different. The standards are just different. So instead of trying to make AOC look smart, which is fucking impossible, they'll try and make her look pretty. Maybe they'll give her big tits or something. They'll surround her with people that are so interested in meeting her, and oh, she's such a sweet girl, and blah, you know what I mean? And they'll try and make her likable that way. They couldn't make her look smart. There's not enough dumb people in the world to surround her to make her look smart. The standards are just different. Pumpkin AOC's not pretty. Well, I don't think she's very pretty either, but like I said, all I gotta do is throw some tits on her and somebody's gonna think she's pretty. But they also got Photoshop too, and do a lot of Photoshop. Wigglytuff, to be honest, I'm a sucker for big tits, so I might show some interest. See, that's what I'm saying. That's all it takes. Slap some tits on AOC, and they're like, you know, she's got my vote. Who you voting for? I ain't voting for the dude. I'm voting for the chick with the tits. I'm like, yeah, fuck. I don't know. What's up, Lisa? Happy Freedom. Janek, maybe she's secretly huffing helium. Maybe she's huffing those cow farts. She's trying to save us from climate change. What's up, Jeff Reynolds? Happy Freedom. Tactical, isn't there a city in Michigan that plays the Islam worship music over the town on speakers? I don't know anything about that, Tactical. I can look it up. I'll just Google it really quick. I haven't heard anything about that, but I know Dearborn has the most condensed population of Muslims in the entire country. So I wouldn't be surprised if we had something like this too. Says, I don't know what the fuck that is. Hamtramck. It's H-A-M like ham. Then it's T-R-A-M like tram. So Hamtram. And then CK. So Hamtramck, Michigan, wherever the fuck that is a city that has experienced controversy over playing Islamic call to prayer music over speakers in 2004. A request to allow the call to prayer set off a continuous debate with concerns raised over the noise it would cause. However, the city eventually amended the noise ordinance in July of 2004, allowing the prayer call to be made. The city is known for its multicultural atmosphere with around 30 languages spoken within its borders. The city has become a symbol of diversity and coexistence, with Muslims making up more than half of its population. I assume that's near Detroit because there's nothing like that near where I live. That's very interesting. Thanks for bringing that up, Tactical. Steve S. convert the Muslims to Motown music. I don't know if Motown still puts out music. I know they still exist. Josh 1776. I don't know. I don't think Google's going to tell me what the rape rate is in that city. Astro Hammer. Yeah, I've never even heard of that city. It's got to be near Dearborn. Hair Juicer. She should use Big Juicy Booty song for an ad. Does she got a booty though? She seems like she's built like a Cheerios box, but you know, maybe I'm wrong. What's up, High Plains Drifter? Happy Freedom. Done. I saw a pic where someone made AOC blonde with a see-through top. Not bad. I think I've seen the picture that you're talking about. I didn't see the one where she was blonde though. She's got like a black top on and you can like see her tits through the top. It's not real. It's Photoshop supposedly, but yeah, I've seen that. Told to care, she'll always be a bartender. Yep, serving drunks. Hey, thanks for being here, Poetic. What's up, Elisa? Happy Freedom. She would no doubt be worse than Old Man Walter. I think you're right, Elisa. I don't know what that would look like necessarily, but I believe you. Metal Mouth. AOC is a carpenter's dream. Flat as a board and easy to nail. Jesus loves us. Yeah. Zero, it's near Detroit. I figured. Astro Hammer, even Cheerios need love too. Snooks is cosplaying with Squeaky Toy? No, it's the damn birds. They're making fun of him. He's sitting there at the window and they laugh at him because he's in the house. Lisa, she could use WAP as her campaign song. She could. I wonder if she'll have Cardi B come out twerking for her and stuff. Garden, my bad. My family was from that city. It was a Polish enclave in Detroit's heyday. That's interesting. Yeah, things have changed, it seems. I've never heard of that city before. It's about 4 or 5 hours away from me. All right, hooligans, let's get into this next one. Like I said, MSNBC's Simone Sanders claims that Trump admin could target black American citizens for deportation. Yes, that's great. Let's tell the normies that stupid shit. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you, hooligans, really quick. If you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and you're using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. So you got to go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat. And like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We got chapstick emojis, screaming goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live. So definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. Well, let's get this short video pulled up. MSNBC telling normies that pretty much everybody's getting deported. Doesn't matter who you are. Trump don't like you, you're getting thrown out. Either way, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
But to me, that is why Kilmar Abrego Garcia's specific case, the case of the gentleman who's a makeup artist out of California who was also sent to that prison. That is why the 75% of the folks who have been sent, the men who have been sent there that don't have criminal records, that is why this is so important. Because if they could do it to them, if they could snatch students off the street without any pushback or recourse, they will do it to any of us. To be very clear, it's going to be the people of color and vulnerable communities that are next in line.
I think that's right, and that's certainly part of why the African-American community is so strongly behind the supporting Kilmar.
Yeah, we are not for this.
Yeah, because as you just said, if they're going to whisk them away.
But to me...
Okay. So they're trying to normalize this idea that President Trump is going to just deport everybody. Just everybody's getting deported. It doesn't even make any sense. The people who are saying this stuff don't like being here anyways. These people that are pushing this race crap, they're the ones that say that America is systematically racist. They're the ones that say that, you know, we're such a terrible country and all this stuff because of racism and inequality and the lack of inclusiveness and blah, 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 blah. And then they turn around and go, oh, no, he's going to deport us. Well, he's not going to, but if he did, wouldn't he be doing you a favor? You fucking hate it here so much. Like, I don't get that. I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. But what really sucks is there's normies out there that are going to believe it. They're going to say, well, I saw it in the news. They said in the news that Trump was going to do this. You can't believe the news. Like, and that's the thing, is the news is supposed to be something that you can trust. It's supposed to be a trustworthy source of information, and it's not. It's not at all. That's why we got to cover so much damn news, just to kind of get an idea of what's even happening out there, because you can't trust any of it. And so, like I'm saying, there's normies, there's old people. They're going to see that clip right there, and they're going to believe it. They're going to say, well, Trump said he's going to throw out black American citizens and deport them. Where are they getting deported to? You're a citizen of America. Where, like, deportation means you get sent home. You're already home. Where are they sending you? Like, it doesn't make sense, but to try and get these kind of people to think is a nightmare. Thinking is something they're not very good at. So, I don't know. I always worry when I see propaganda like this being given to the normies, because I know on the weekend I got to go to Walmart where these idiots are. And they're walking around believing this crap. And I got American flags on my everything when I leave the house, so they see me and they know. They're like, are you here to deport me? No, bitch, get out of the way. I'm trying to grab this, trying to grab some food here. Get the hell out of the way. I'm not here for you, piece of shit. Anyways, next up, President Trump holds a meeting with Norwegian Prime Minister. Now, we're not going to cover their little powwow that they had hanging out, having themselves a good time, but this is from earlier today. And President Trump did answer questions from the press, so this is the closest thing to a presser we're going to have today. So I figure we might as well cover it. It's going to take about 8 to 10 minutes or something. But like I said, it's an update from President Trump from earlier today, so why not? It's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about these idiots on MSNBC making claims that pretty much if Trump don't like you, you're getting deported. Zero citizens can go to jail for treason, though. Yeah. Russell, if you're a U.S. citizen, you can't be deported. They're not going to believe you, Russell. They're not going to believe you. Zero, next, Trump bans Rosie from moving back to the U.S. I wish he would. I wish he would. She denounced her citizenship when she left. Astra Hammer, she needs to be deported. I agree. I'm going to have to go deal with Klaus Daniels. He's going to try and climb the damn screen here. Astra Hammer, you see that? He's got an American flag on everything. And he's dangling. He's here to deport us. Yep, the dangly bits. I forgot about that. He's still got his dangly bits intact. He must be a conservative. Yeah. Tony Rez, next they will say when they get back in office, they're going to deport MAGA supporters. And the folks are wild. Yeah. We'll see. And that's the thing, is they're always projecting. They always put their ideas onto other people. Like they were talking about President Trump before he won the election. They're like, oh no, if President Trump wins, he's going to use lawfare against us. Like, what do you mean? You've been putting him in court for the last 4 years over bogus claims. You're worried he's going to do that back to you? Oh, well, you deserve it, you know? And he didn't even do any of that. So, where's that Project 2025 they were crying so hard about? Too old to care, fearmongers? Yeah, absolutely. Pumpkin, idiots and losers whining and crying. They're crying their little eyes out over nothing. It's just like the protesters that are crying about Medicaid and Social Security. President Trump's not doing anything with Medicaid or Social Security. They just made Social Security stronger. They just put anti-fraud systems onto Social Security because of all the fraud that Doge found. He made Social Security stronger. And then we got people out here protesting, and not just protesting, but they're taking people who are special needs and they're bringing them to the protests because they're telling those people, oh, Trump's going to take away your Medicaid. He's going to take away all your benefits. No, he's not. And then go out there and waste all that damn time crying in the street. Like, find something else to do. Go out and make some money. Stop fucking crying over everything. Screaming Eagle, who listens to these people? People that don't know better. That's it. I don't know who else would want to listen to those people. Mike T, how do these people get so-called expert jobs? DEI. They qualified by skin color. That's how it worked. Let them out. Deport all the mainstream media reporters. Yeah, for real. We need change. Cody, like Oprah, you're getting deported and you're getting deported. Yep. What's up, Trapper? Happy freedom to you. Wiggly Tough, this is bullshit. No black people are being targeted for deportation. Who's making up this bullshit? I think that that heavy woman that was on the screen there, who was all bald-headed, had less hair than I got, I think she felt that everybody was getting more attention than her. You know, everybody's crying about Garcia. They want him back from El Salvador. He's just a poor father from Maryland. And she realized there wasn't enough people talking about her or the black community. And so she's like, hold on, we're not going to worry about that shit. Let's make up a story about Trump deporting black people. Let's bring the attention back over here. That's what I think actually happened, because nobody's, you know, just like the Medicaid and the Social Security stuff I was just talking about. Nobody said that. Some Democrat went out there and was like, he's going to do it. And the normies were like, oh my God, did you hear that President Trump's going to do this shit he's not actually doing? We need to hit the streets and we need to do it now. And it's stupid. It's so stupid. TBD, a lot of Hollywood people are self-deporting. Yeah, they did that during the lockdowns too. Before the lockdowns happened, they were all leaving. What's up, BM? Happy freedom to you. Lone Wolf, so damn true. Not a freaking peep about Project 2025. Yeah. They were sending propaganda. I wish I still had the paper here. They sent me like a trifold folder thing in the mail provided by the Democrat Party, and the front of it said Trump's Project 2025. And it was a whole pamphlet on how he was going to ruin the country with Project 2025. And it ain't his. It's not his project. But the Democrats were putting mail in our mailbox saying it was. I tried to get a reach President Trump or even Don Jr. to be like, hey, do you realize they're sending slanderous pamphlets in our mail? But I'm not a big enough fish to get their attention. And so I doubt they even realize it. But yeah, Democrats crying so hard over Project 2025. President Trump won. We haven't heard anything about Project 2025 ever since. What's up, Wayward? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Breeze by you? Happy freedom to you. Zero, I took my mom's pamphlet. I didn't want her to keep reading it. Yeah. And it's just straight propaganda. You know, where's all that stuff now? Screaming Eagle, if I get deported, I hope they send me somewhere nice. Yeah, me too, Screaming Eagle. Trapper, has nothing to do with Trump. Project 2025 is slander from the libs. Absolutely. Totally care. Did you see the guy that replaced Schwab at the WEF? I did. I don't know what his name is, but his eye is all bloodshot or whatever. Trapper, I trashed the one they sent my mother. Yeah, I would have trashed it too, but I wanted to show all of you hooligans. And like I said, we were trying to get attention from any of, you know, the Trump family to be like, hey, you're being slandered like in a big way here. But we just couldn't get their attention. So I held on to it. I probably still got it somewhere. All right, hooligans, let's get into this next one. Like I said, this next video is from earlier today. President Trump was meeting with the Norwegian Prime Minister. I don't know that guy's name, but either way, they were hanging out and they were having themselves a good time. And while they were, of course, the press decided to ask questions, and President Trump out here providing answers. So let me figure out where this begins really quick. Weird, I think they cut the live. So now I gotta guess. I gotta guess at where these questions begin. Just a second here. Life is like this. Well, we'll skim through and get it figured out. I had the timestamps, but they cut the video since it was live. So the timestamps are not the same. But either way, it's going to be about 10 minutes of President Trump answering questions. Like I said, this is from earlier today, and this is the closest we're going to have to a press briefing. So I figure we might as well get updates on random situations directly from the president's mouth. Hit that like button if you haven't already, and let's get into this. Like I said, I'm probably going to have to skip around a little bit to figure out where the questions begin and all of that, because we don't want to sit here for 20 minutes hearing the same old. But let me get this figured out.
And we want to stop that. We both want to stop that for a lot of reasons. And I think we're going to get this over with. I hope so soon.
Mr. President, you continue to lack support from NATO allies in your goal of obtaining Greenland. How will you proceed if you don't get that support?
Well, Greenland's going to be interesting, but that's for another day. I think we need that for international peace.
What are you expecting of your allies?
And if you don't have that, I think it's a big threat to our world. So I think Greenland's very important for international peace. Yeah, please go ahead.
Mr. President, this morning in a Truth Social post, you used the words Vladimir, stop. That seemed like a slightly different message, a personal message. What is your level of frustration with President Putin?
I didn't like last night. I wasn't happy with it. And we're in the midst of talking peace, and missiles were fired. And I was not happy with it. That's what I meant, and that's, you know. What is it? I assume that's what you mean.
Sorry.
Yeah.
If the bombs keep falling, will you consider additional sanctions toward Russia, or what will you do if President Putin...
I'd rather answer that question in a week. I want to see if we can have a deal. No reason to answer it now, but I won't be happy. Let me put it that way. Things will happen.
Mr. President, why are you not putting more pressure on Russia? I know a lot of Europeans...
Putting a lot of pressure. You don't know what pressure I'm putting on Russia. They're dealing. You have no idea what pressure I'm putting on Russia. We're putting a lot of pressure.
Can you maybe tell us that?
We're putting a lot of pressure on Russia, and Russia knows that, and some people that are close to it know, or he wouldn't be talking right now. The Prime Minister understands that better than anybody. He wouldn't be talking right now. He's talking, and we're putting a lot of pressure. I think he wants to make a deal. We're going to find out very soon, but it takes two to tango, and you have to have Ukraine want to make a deal too, and they're being hit very hard. And I do believe they want to make a deal.
Mr. President, you said that the Ukraine have to give some territory to win peace, among them Crimea. Do you stand by that? And I know that the former NATO General Secretary today has told you that he does not agree, and he believes in territorial integrity of the Ukraine. How will you deal with that with your allies? And do you stand by that Ukraine have to give?
Former Secretary General happens to be right here, you know, so they can't put words in his mouth. He's been a great general, frankly. It was because that's what you are. Really, you're a general. But he's been a great Secretary General. We had a tremendous relationship, very successful, and I think he could speak for himself. He's right here.
But do you still agree that Ukraine have to give some territory away to win peace?
Well, it depends what territory. They've been fighting. They've lost a lot of territory. And we'll do the best we can. Working with Ukraine, we'll do the best we can. But they lost a lot of territory. When you say Crimea, that was handed over during a president named Barack Hussein Obama. That had nothing to do with me, Crimea. That was 11 years ago with Obama. And they made a decision. There wasn't a bullet fired. There was no fighting. There was no anything. They just handed it over. Now they say, well, can you get it back? I think that's going to be a very difficult thing to do. That was given by Barack Obama when he was president, not by Donald Trump.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I had a long meeting,
Mr. Proposal that you put on the table. It's a 30-day ceasefire proposal. The national security team presented it to both Ukraine and Russia. 2 months ago, Ukraine agreed to that ceasefire proposal immediately. Russia has not. And my question is Russia the obstacle to peace based upon that, just getting to that 30-day ceasefire?
I don't think so. I think that they both want peace right now. They're ready to do something. We'll see what happens. Complicated, very complicated. But I think they are both very much looking to make a deal. Marco, what would you say?
Well, first of all, what was put before our partners was options to discuss about things that it would take to end a war. This war is endable. Both sides just have to agree to it. We've shown them a pathway forward. We've discussed those ideas. It was a good meeting yesterday. There'll be good meetings over the weekend. We've shown them the finish line. We need both of them to say yes. But what happened last night with those missile strikes should remind everybody of why this war needs to end. It's horrible those missiles landed. What's even worse is there are today people that were alive yesterday that are not alive today because this war continues, and the president wants to stop it. And everyone should be thanking the president for being a peacemaker and trying to save lives. That's what we're trying to do here. It's not our war. We didn't start it, as you know. But we're trying to end the dying. We're trying to end the destruction. And we've shown the path forward. We can see the finish line, but both of them have to get there. We're going to do everything we can to help them get there, but they have to ultimately say yes. Both
and we are using a lot of pressure on both. You know, if you think we're just in there because we're nice people, and we are nice people, but we're using a lot of pressure on both.
What concessions, Mr. President, and to your national security team, what concessions has Russia offered up thus far to get to the point where you're closer to peace?
Stopping the war, taking the whole country. Pretty big concession.
Mr. President, if you are going to take down the tariffs, what do you want Norway to buy more from the U.S.?
To buy more? Well, you don't need snow. You don't need skis. You don't need ski champions either, right? You have a lot of them. We just want to keep the relationship the way it is. We've had a great relationship. I think now maybe closer than ever, but we've had a great relationship with Norway. I think just keep it the way it is, kid. You can't do better.
Really? You not even buy, say, a
Well, if they want to give us some additional concessions, that's okay. You can't do much better. Yes,
Mr.
yes.
President, you had a long meeting with Norway today. You said that Norway is doing a lot of things right, but on the Ukraine, if I can ask both you and the Prime Minister, did you find common ground today on Ukraine and the peace plan?
Totally. It's totally common ground. The Prime Minister can speak about it, but I can just say he wants to see people stop dying more than anything else, and he'd like to see it end. He's going to help us end it.
Mr. President, can I say that to move towards an end of this war, U.S. engagement is critical, and President Trump made that possible. That is clear. That is obvious. It's really happening. Now, the important thing is that both parties have to know that they have to deliver, and they have to feel the pressure to deliver. Ukraine is under attack. They are defending themselves. Lives are being lost. And we believe very firmly that there needs to be a ceasefire, the initiative taken by the U.S. Some time ago. It needs to be respected. And then to move on to something which both parties can own. That is the complicated part in such a dramatic war. And here I believe Europeans and Americans working together, as we do much closer now. And I salute the team of President Trump of being, open in that process. We had a good discussion on this today, and then we have to move on, and we cannot lose time because this is too much drama happening. One thing is people losing their lives, but it is a bad thing for Europe, and it's a bad thing for the world to having such a broad conflict going on. It can have ramifications far beyond Ukraine.
Mr. President, follow-up question. Mr. President, I forgot my question. I wanted to ask about.
It's all right. That happens to
It happens sometimes, yeah. No, Mr. President, I wanted to ask about Zelensky has said that he wants more Patriot missiles. So far, has been no response from the United States. If you and the United States decides to pull out of negotiating for peace, trying to broker peace, does that also mean a no on Patriot missiles, a no on sharing intelligence with Ukraine?
Let's see what happens. I think we're going to make a deal. And if we make a deal, that'll be wonderful. We won't have to worry about your question. You can ask that question in 2 weeks, and we'll see. But I think we're getting very close. The Prime Minister feels the same way, and we'll hopefully not have to answer that question.
You said once the President.
Mr. President, Norway is the third country to be officially invited to the White House after Liberation Day. Why did you invite Norway so soon to the White House?
Because I like them. And I like your Prime Minister, and I like the way your government runs. and I respect the king. He's highly respected in Norway. It's a great thing, not an easy thing to do. He's done a great job. Yeah.
Would you like an invitation to visit the king?
Absolutely. You get me that invitation.
I just told the president he's welcome to visit Norway.
President Trump, the first life farm.
You said before that you like the Norwegian Petroleum Fund, and I'm wondering if that has been up for discussion today, the way that we have structured our money and whether.
Well, this fund was created in the late 1990s to save for future generations the income from oil and gas. Norwegians should continue to work as hard, dedicated, innovate and move forward, despite having these incomes, which we happen to be in the period of our history where we can harvest, and we have transferred that into investments, half of them, by the way, here in the United States. So I think this is a model which we have been able to explore. If we can share experiences, and we do with our colleagues in the US, you never copy this one-to-one, but there can be techniques and way of working that we have used in organizing our fund. Jens Stoltenberg was the finance minister when the first dollar entered that fund. So he is a safe hand to have as a finance minister today. What do you say?
No, and as you said, Mr. Prime Minister, we are ready to sit down with the US to also work with them on if they want to establish a sovereign wealth fund, because we have a good experience with our fund. And I think that one example of how we work together with the United States is that half of the fund, close to $1 trillion US, are invested in the United States, mainly in equity, but also some in fixed income, including government bonds. So this is an expression of trust in the United States, expressed by the strong investment of the Sovereign Wealth Fund. Then just briefly on Ukraine, since it was mentioned, we had a very good and extensive discussion about Ukraine, the path forward to peace. And as the Prime Minister said, we commend the US for pushing forward to try to find a negotiated solution. At the same time, we need to continue to support Ukraine, and therefore I'm proud that Norway has actually tripled the military support to Ukraine, and this year we will allocate close to $8 billion US to Ukraine. That will strengthen.
Yes. In 2018, your former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo called for an end to Russian occupation of Crimea. Why has this administration changed its stance on territorial concessions for Crimea?
Well, the war started. It would have never started if I were president. This is a war that is horrible. All wars are horrible. This one is in particular bad. And I don't know that you can ever say there's going to be a winner to this, because so many lives have been lost. Not only soldiers, I mean, a lot of lives have been lost. I think that we want to do one very simple thing. It would have never happened if I were president. Zero chance it was going to, and it didn't. You know, people say, how do you know that? Number one, it didn't happen. We never even discussed it. I would talk to Putin about it. It was the apple of his eye. You know, Ukraine was the apple of Putin's eye, but there was never even a thought that he'd go in. And I think he understood that I would not be happy if he did. And it was only when I got out, and you know, when you mention what happened to Ukraine years ago under President Obama and a vice president that was also president later, unfortunately for this country, what happened is large chunks of land were given up, and it was called Crimea, and that was a big thing. That was a big moment. But this isn't my war. This is Biden's war. This is a war that Biden was president when this war happened. But I'm trying to put out the fire, and I think we'll be successful. And if we do, we're going to save a lot of lives. Otherwise, and the Prime Minister had a statement. He said, this is just a point in time. We're very lucky because this is a point. And if this doesn't happen, this could go on for a long time.
Mr. President, will you have meetings with other world leaders when you're in Rome, sir?
Future Democrat president?
I don't think he will. I think he wants to make peace. I think he wants to end it. And I feel pretty confident of that, but we're gonna know pretty soon.
Mr. President, will you have meetings with other world leaders when you're in Rome?
Yes, I will.
Which leaders do you want to meet, sir?
Well, I'd like to meet them all. That would be nice. I'd like to take care of all of them, but we have many of them there, and they all want to meet. They want to meet about trade. and we are making some great inroads and great deals. You might want to speak about that, Mr. Secretary.
We had a very successful bilateral meeting with the Republic of South Korea today. We may be moving faster than I thought, and we will be talking technical terms as early as next week as we reach an agreement on understanding as soon as next week. So South Koreans came early. They came with their A game, and we will see if they follow through on that.
President Trump, you're rounding up your first 100 days.
Do you think you deserve the Nobel Peace Prize if you manage to create
Do I deserve the Nobel Peace?
If you manage to create peace?
Well, maybe for the Abraham Accords. I don't want to get ahead of myself on this one, but they say for the Abraham Accords, and by the way, speaking of that, we're going to be filling it up. A lot of countries want to come into the Abraham Accords. You know, we have 4. And Biden did nothing on that one, too. It's the same 4. But they're great countries, and they were brave doing it, and it's worked out very well. And we're going to be filling up the Abraham Accords. They're going to be, I think, filling it up very rapidly.
Mr. President,
could you say something about that?
There's great, enormous opportunity to grow the Abraham Accords. But I would just point to one thing. Of all the leaders in the world today, no leader is working harder to prevent wars or end them than President Trump is right now. We're trying. That's why we're talking to Iran. That's why we're engaged with Ukraine and Russia. It's the desire to prevent these wars from breaking out and to end the ones that exist already. And again, I just think it's tremendous for our country to be led by a president who desires to bring peace and establish peace and protect peace. So it's hard work.
Mr. President, you know, Marco just mentioned something that maybe we should talk about for just a second, if we could, Mr. Prime Minister. And you're involved in it, too, because you've been involved in the world and peace. But I think we're doing very well with respect to Iran, and we're having very serious meetings. And there are only 2 options, and the one option is not a good option. It's not a good option at all. And I think we're doing very well on an agreement with Iran, but that one, we're doing a lot of things, I will say, but that one is well on its way. We could have a very, very good decision, and a lot of lives will be saved.
Mr. President, on the economy, there was a slowdown as it relates to home sales in the month of March, the slowest pace since 2009. Is that an economic indicator, and perhaps the Treasury Secretary can weigh in on this as well, is that an economic indicator that concerns you about the broader U.S. economy?
No, they had very good numbers on housing today, extremely good numbers, and that's despite interest rates, because, you know, if you look at what happened, everyone said, oh, I said I was going to get prices down. I did. Energy just hit $1.98 in a couple of states. It's way down. Energy's down, and we're about $64 a barrel. When I came in, and we were looking at $89, $90, $95. And by the way, that helps us solve the war, too. Having those energy prices is a big incentive for Russia to also agree with solving the war problem. Groceries are down. When I was with you 2 months ago, you were complaining about eggs. I said, I just got here. I was here for about a week when the press started saying about eggs have gone through the roof. I said, I just got here. Tell me about eggs. And they happened. They went through the roof, and you couldn't get them. So we just had a big Easter egg hunt at the White House. Thousands and thousands of eggs, and the price was down 87%. So we did a great job. Housing is doing very well. We should lower interest rates. That's the Fed. I hope they lower interest rates. That's a smart thing to do. Be ahead a little bit, although already it's a little bit late. But in the end, we just have a great country. We have a very strong country, and we have every other country. I can't think of one country that doesn't want to negotiate a deal. And they either negotiate a deal or we set a deal that we think is fair. Because we don't have to go through all of these. It would be physically impossible. You know, you have so many people that really understand it, which is a very small group of people here. And we are going to, at some point, just set prices for deals. Some will be tariffed. Some treated us very unfairly. They'll be tariffed higher than others. But we've been ripped off for many, many years. The United States has been ripped off like no country probably in the history of the world has been ripped off for 45, 50 years. And countries have gone rich by doing that with the United States. We've taken care of their militaries, and military is another subject we talk about. We're not going to make that subject to any of the deals, but you know the same countries that I do, where we virtually take care of their military and then don't get treated fairly on trade. So the people, and I don't blame those countries, I blame the people that sat at that beautiful desk right behind you, because those people didn't do the job for this country, and they let us lose $4 billion a day on trade. We were losing $4 or $5 billion a day on trade when I got here, and now we're going to be much better than breaking even, and we're going to be making $4 or $5 billion a day on trade. So, but I don't blame any country, not the worst of them. We were abused by countries. I blame the President of the United States that happened to be sitting when these deals were made. Disgraceful. When I was here, we had a great 4 years. We had the most successful economy in the history of our country, my first term. And we were very tough on trade. And with China, as you know, they paid hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. But nobody else ever did that. China paid not 10 cents to any other president. And but not only China, virtually every country got away with murder. And we just can't let that happen. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, hooligans. Now that lasted a little bit longer than I intended on running it, but I couldn't figure out exactly where the questions were that I wanted to start the video on. Like I said, they had cut the video since I put it on the schedule, so the timestamps I have were no longer accurate because they changed the time of the video. But either way, as President Trump there answering questions from the press, a lot of it very redundant about Ukraine and all of that crap. They need to either come to an agreement or we're going to have to let them go and they're going to have to figure it out on their own. Now, I think a lot of people realize that Ukraine probably won't exist if we go hands off. If we just let whatever happen, it seems like Zelensky's going to lose, which would be it'd be a waste of money that we sent them. I wonder how much money we've actually sent them. I wonder if we could have paid our deficit with it. Because, I mean, we sent them a lot of money, and they're still struggling with this war. So hopefully they can come to a peace agreement, because otherwise it seems like they'll be just consumed by Russia. I don't know. That's what it seems like. Either way, next up we have Democrat judge resigns after housing alleged Tren de Aragua member. He didn't just house him, but he gave him firearms and allowed him to shoot on the property and everything else. I don't know if he was like pretending to be his son or what was happening, but man, these Democrats love illegals. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about President Trump answering questions from the press. J Spray, $64 a barrel isn't showing at the pump. Yeah, I just got gas and it's like $3.50 where I am right now. It's not terrible, but it's not 2020 prices. They're like 2019 prices that we were paying $2 for gas or whatever. I still miss that. What's up, guess I'm happy freedom to you. J Spray, I quit smoking at $5. Me too. I remember when cigarettes were like $3 and then it went to $5 and I quit right after that. Guess according to the Department of Education, student loans is $1.7 trillion. That's crazy. I only owe $42,000 of that $1.7 trillion. Breeze by you, could you imagine if Trump housed and gave guns to a gang member, let alone a gang member, but a terrorist gang, because those international gangs are terrorist organizations. Yeah. What's up, Tory Wayne? Happy freedom to you. It's $2.75 a gallon where you are. Not bad. Russell, $2.99. You guys got good gas prices. They're overcharging us here in Michigan. Holy. Pumpkin gas is $2.48 where you are. Badass. Tony Rez, when people say there's no Nazis in Ukraine, they are lying to you and are either ignorant or support Nazis. Yeah, there is Nazis in the Ukraine. I remember when people first started saying that stuff, I looked into it, and yeah, they have that. Their National Guard is in support of Nazis, and a lot of the people who are a part of that brigade are descendants of actual Nazis from World War II, and that's why they're proud to have that symbol. It's like a Z with a line through it. That's their Nazi symbol. Yeah, that stuff's weird. The news doesn't show that stuff at all. You got to just, and it's not hard to look up. You just Google it and it'll tell you all about it, but the news never talks about it. Appeal to Evan saw 2 semis with thousands of chickens on them in Georgia on your way back to the hotel. Interesting. I wonder what they're doing with all those chickens. It's been a while since they've been talking about the chicken flu. Cricket Kiss, 60 million laying hens slaughtered for their fake bird flu BS. Yeah. And like I said, they haven't even been talking about it. Cricket Kiss, you think Zelensky's an installed Soros puppet? Definitely could be. He seems like he doesn't do anything other than cocaine. Screaming Eagle, I remember when cigarettes were 50 cents. That's crazy. I didn't even realize they used to be that cheap. Told Kara, I don't want to talk about gas prices. Washington State. Oh, yeah. Why has the left coast always got high prices on everything? Like, I understand that minimum wage kind of reflects that, and I think minimum wage in California is probably like $30 or something like that, but I never really understood why gas and everything is so much more expensive on the left coast. Tony Rez, I used to get a carton of cigarettes for $15, now it's $70. Holy. It's cheaper to smoke weed. What's up, Karma Carson? Happy freedom to you. Jeff Reynolds, you're paying $266. South Central Kentucky, those are good prices. Agent O, $259. Rhonda paying $304. In Wisconsin, yeah, so we got similar gas prices. Ladybug, Trump has new 2028 hats. I've seen that. I've seen a lot of people sharing that on X. Agent O, much cheaper to smoke weed. Yeah. Vinny C. Marco Rubio is a good Secretary of State. I think so too. I wasn't really sure about Rubio. He would get up on stage and people would boo him at the MAGA rallies. And I didn't really understand why. I didn't know who he was. And it was just a couple times before President Trump won the election. It was a couple rallies leading up to it because he was doing like 3 rallies a day. We were going ham covering all that stuff. But I noticed every time Rubio got on stage, it was mixed results from the crowd. And so I wasn't too sure about him, but he seems to be kicking ass. It's been Scam Bondi and them that have been a real disappointment lately. Klaus is rioting. What's up, Mr. Coffee? Happy freedom. What's up, Alex? Happy freedom to you. Alex, $369, but mostly $398 in Eugene. Yeah, that's getting up there, Mr. Coffee. $369 in Chicago, where you are. Yeah. Garden, Gretchen Whitmer just called over 100,000 Canadian geese and ducks using poisonous gas. Speaking of Nazi and bird flu, yeah, we covered that. Alex King, but $2 would be real nice. I agree. One day we'll probably get back to that. What's up, Energy Woman? Happy freedom to you. $70, dang. $130 for a carton of Virginia Slims menthol. That is crazy expensive. Snooks, are the birds still tormenting Klaus? Yeah. I had to tell him to go put the gun back in the locker. Zero prices doubled in the last 4 years? Yeah. Metalmouth gas is like $2.49 depending on where you go here in Omaha. Yeah, see, that's a good deal. When you get around $2, I think stuff's, that's about right. My feed paying $3.09 in Ohio. Yeah, see, and that's still cheaper than what I just paid today. Happy freedom, my feed. Russell, Pall Mall Red 1000s. I never smoked a 1000 before. You don't even look at the price? Yeah. I smoked Marlboro Red 100s. I used to be getting 2 packs at a time, 2 packs a day. I was terrible about it. I used to be stressed and angry. Just smoking cigarettes back to back. I had to cut that out. It's been a long time. Let's see, 21. I'm 36 now. So 10 years. 10 years since I quit smoking. I don't know. I ain't never going back. Like I said, we're going to get into this next video here. Democrat judge resigns after housing alleged Tren de Aragua member. Let's go ahead and get this pulled up real quick. Now, I don't remember, maybe I missed it in the video, but it doesn't seem like this judge is going to be charged in any way. He resigned, but I don't think he's going to be penalized criminally for aiding and abetting for hanging out with illegals and hiding them from ICE. Same thing with providing firearms to him and allowing him to use the firearms on his property. I think they're just going to wipe all that and be like, oh, it's no big deal as long as he resigns. I think it's bullshit. I think he should be held criminally responsible. Maybe they say that in this video, but I don't remember them saying it. Where's the accountability? Either way, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
Democrat judge in New Mexico has resigned after he reportedly housed a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member on his property. Griff Jenkins with us this morning. Griff, how did this happen?
I don't have any idea, Stu. You can't make this up. I mean, what did this judge know or not know? Was he not aware? Look, this all began in late February, okay? Homeland Security investigation agents raided Judge Joel Cano's New Mexico property and arrested this alleged Tren de Aragua gang member named Christian Ortega Lopez for being illegally in the country and in possession of firearms. Now, days later, Judge Cano resigned without explanation, and according to court documents, Ortega Lopez had been doing odd jobs for Cano's wife before being offered lodging in the couple's casita on the back of the property following his eviction from an El Paso apartment. And it says this: the defendant was introduced to Nancy Cano's daughter, April Cano, who possessed a large number of firearms. The defendant advised that April Cano allowed him to hold and sometimes shoot various firearms. It also alleges in the documents Ortega Lopez admitted he knew it was illegal for him to possess firearms associated with other TDA gang members and had tattoos associated with TDA, and worried about telling the judge's wife about an AK-47 tattoo, which is a known TDA identifier. Now, shortly after Judge Cano's resignation, the State Judicial Standards Commission petitioned the New Mexico Supreme Court to suspend him for harboring a TDA gang member, who in turn barred Cano for life from holding or running for any judicial office. However, no indication Cano is currently under investigation by the authorities. Now, we've also learned, by the way, Ortega Lopez illegally entered the country in Eagle Pass, Texas in December of 2023, Stu, but was released with the notice to appear. Stu?
Got it. Griff, thank you very much indeed.
Okay. These Democrats, they love illegals. They love them. They said that he was there doing random odd jobs for his wife. Oh, I bet. Sounds like Judge was having a hard time getting it up and had to import some new meat. I don't know. They said he's under investigation, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be held criminally responsible. So it's only a matter of time before he picks up a couple MS-13 gang members and starts housing them and giving them guns. And who's to say he wasn't training them to fight or something? He's giving them guns. They're illegals. They're not supposed to have guns, but he gives them to them anyway. He's a judge. It's not like he doesn't know the law. And then he allows that individual to use those firearms. How do you know he wasn't training that guy to do something with those guns? I don't know. We'll see if they actually get some accountability. I'd be fucking shocked. I'd be shocked if this guy actually goes to jail or has any kind of criminal punishment for providing housing and firearms to an illegal. And not just any illegal, he's a Tren de Aragua gang member, which makes him he's a terrorist. He's not a domestic terrorist. He's a regular kind of terrorist. Again, they don't know if the judge is going to be held criminally liable for any of this. If it was me, you wouldn't even know. They would just throw me under the jail and never talk about it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Where's the accountability? It just follows me around. It needs to go. There's other people who need it. Next up, Marco Rubio places full responsibility of the war in Gaza squarely on Hamas, calling them 100% to blame. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this judge showing favoritism to terrorists. Snooks, do you get non-ethanol too? I don't know, Snooks. I get cheap gas. Unleaded. That's all I know is unleaded. I don't know about ethanol or anything like that. Zero, that guy, I read that he's been banned from being on the bench forever. Yeah, but that's not the same thing as going to prison for 20 years for aiding terrorism. Like, that's what he should be doing. He should be facing jail time. It's like, yeah, I'm sure it's devastating to be a judge and you lose your ability to be a judge. Now you got to go be a sandwich artist at Subway. I'm sure that sucks really bad. But he knew what he was doing when he was making those choices. I think him being removed from the bar or whatever, I don't think that's enough. I think he should be imprisoned. Maybe not 20 years, but he should get something. 5 years in prison for housing a terrorist and providing firearms to him. I don't know. I don't think losing your job's enough. Zero E-gas is the ethanol. I don't even know what that is. Maybe they don't have that shit here. I don't know. There's unleaded, and then there's two other buttons. I don't even know what the other two buttons are. I've only drove cars that require the unleaded, the cheapest shit they got at the gas station. I don't know anything about ethanol. Screaming Eagle, he was performing duties to a judge's wife too. I smell a threesome. I'm saying, I don't know exactly what those odd jobs were that he needed done for his wife, but yeah, the illegal was smiling big. Met him out. That judge needs to have TDA gang members for cellmates. Yep. My feed, he needs to be charged. I think so. Elder Zoomer, it's different. The D for Democrat. Yeah, exactly. Hey, thanks for being here. Appeal to heaven. Have a good night. Happy freedom to you, Cricket Kiss. Child and drug smuggling besties. That's adorable. Yeah. They're all like taking pictures with each other. Hey, thank you for being here, Breeze by You. Enjoy the rest of your day. Everyone's putting so much emphasis on the illegal doing odd jobs for his wife. We want answers. We want to know, what was the odd jobs he was doing? Is his fingers wrinkly? Let's see. What's up, Savage Gaming? Happy freedom. Cinderella, the geese are protected by migratory bird treaty. She needs to go to jail. Yeah, Whitmer. I don't even know why they suggested that. We covered that story a week or two ago where they were going to be holocausting the geese around here in Michigan. That just doesn't make any sense. It just, like, why do that? Alex King cutting the gas with 10% ethanol like dope dealers. See, I think I know what you guys are talking about, but I go to Wesco. I don't know. They don't talk about ethanol there. I know when I go to the BP stations, there's flyers and stuff that talk about ethanol, but I don't go to BP very often. Zero, he was a Cabana pool boy. Is that what it was? Elder Zoomer, leave it to the government to come up with a bright idea to put stuff that corrodes fuel systems in the gas. Yeah, sounds like our government, doesn't it? Pumpkin, shame, bad judge. Absolutely. Snooks. Oh, you go to Wawa? Yeah, I remember you were telling me that. They don't have that up here. We're supposed to be getting, I think, a Buc-ee's, but I think it's going to be near Detroit, so I'd have to drive 4 hours to see my first Buc-ee's. I'm trying to think. There's something else that's coming up here, too. I don't think it's Whataburger. Maybe it's Chick-fil-A. I think we're about to get a Chick-fil-A. I've never seen that either. We don't have good stuff in Michigan. We don't have any of that cool stuff. No, not really. It's nice here at the beaches and to go hiking and stuff in the fall, but no, we don't have cool stuff like you guys got. Either way, we're going to go ahead and get into this next one. This is a very short video. This is Marco Rubio places full responsibility for the war in Gaza squarely on Hamas, calling them 100% to blame. This is going to make the protesters mad. They love Hamas. All right, hooligans, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
Are you filming it? I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes, and I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's horrifying. I think it's terrible, and I think Hamas is 100% to blame. That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please. Are you filming it?
Smoked him. That lady was trying to get under his skin. Using that backwards talk bullshit. Sound like a regular Democrat. Using semantics. He's like, I think it's terrifying or horrifying. He's like, and Hamas is to blame. Eat shit and post that on the internet, and walked off. Love that. Anyways, next up we got the Lefties losing it. This one's titled, Dylan Mulvaney claims he's been trans since the age of 4. He's been brainwashed since the age of 4. We're just going to go ahead and get right into the Lefties losing it. After this, we're going to be covering our fun stuff of the day. Of course, we're going to be opening today's door of the advent calendar that was sent to us by Hair Juicer. And we got 2 funny videos of the day coming up next. But first, we're going to get into Lefties losing it. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. And let's get into this.
It's time for Lefties losing it. And let's start with a particularly toxic brand of Christianity that appears to be devoid of God and goodness, but full of hate and loathing. Here is Atlanta preacher and far-left lunatic Jamal Bryant dehumanizing half the country by calling Republicans roaches.
Roaches only start running when you turn the lights on. As long as the lights are out, they gonna be comfortable eating your cereal. Y'all ain't saying nothing, climbing in your cupboard. But when you turn the light on, all of the roaches gotta start moving. I came to give a warning. Elon Musk, the light is getting ready to come on. Donald Trump, the light is getting ready to come on. J.D. Vance, the light is getting ready to come on. MAGA, the light is getting ready to come on. Welcome, because the roaches will check in, but they won't check out. The lights are coming on.
Really, we need to seriously consider making asylums great again. And in case you thought this was an isolated incident, this preacher is notorious for bile-filled race-baiting rants.
I feel bad for them in the White House who are in there tap dancing for massa, wearing bow ties, shinning and grinding, laughing like nothing is funny. But I ain't afraid of the spooks that sat at the door. These runaway slaves hiding in the White House.
Talking about race-obsessed simpletons, let's hear from singer John Legend. First, he says he wants Trump to be the comforter-in-chief, like the leader of the free world is supposed to be some sort of therapist for Lefties losing it. And then he goes into a demented diatribe about white supremacy.
Be a comforter-in-chief, you know?
Why do you think that he's latched on to diversity so much?
Oh, he's a bigot, so. It's a belief that there's a hierarchy of racial groups and that his group is superior, genetically superior. He believes that.
Right.
Whenever he talks about competence and qualifications, any white man will do for him. Look at the last guy who was Secretary of Defense. He was a 4-star general, supremely qualified black man. And then see who he puts in after him. That's the level of bigotry that he has. Any white man is better than that.
What a contemptible liar he is. You want to know why America is divided? It's clowns like him. And talking about clowns, it's been a while since we heard from this dude. Dylan Mulvaney now claims that he told his mother he was born in the wrong body when he was just 4.
Came out to my mom at age 4 as a girl. And
What did you say?
I said, I think God made a mistake and put a girl into a boy's body. And, you know, she said, God doesn't make mistakes. But, you know, a number of years later, we made it to where we needed to be.
Now, watch here as journalist Natalie Winters well and truly puts this CNN hack in his place when he questions whether Natalie is a real journalist.
To the people, and I'm sure you see this online every single day, who say you don't deserve to be here because you're not a real journalist. What's your response to them?
Well, I'm pretty sure the group of people in there spent, 4 years covering for someone who was essentially dead, and that's being charitable in my description of him, a president by the name of Joe Biden. So to all those people who are apoplectic over having new media voices, you guys failed, and that's why we're here.
Joining me now is political commentator and author.
All right, that there is lefties losing their marbles. Lowlifes. They're a bunch of lowlifes. Like I said, we're going to be getting into the fun stuff. We're going to be opening today's door of the advent calendar that was sent to us by a hair juicer. And we got 2 funny videos of the day. First one's titled The Real Reason They Want to Ban TikTok. I can't wait to show you guys that video. And then our official funny video of the day is titled Peaceful Protest. All of that is coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about these lefties losing it. Russell, I love that chick destroying CNN. Yeah. I'm surprised CNN is still around. It's more satire than news at this point. Jay Spray, God doesn't make mistakes, but he sure does love a good laugh. You're not wrong, Jay Spray. Got some boom in your face, CNN. Mm-hmm. She should have told him to open his mouth because he's about to get it all over his face. Zero, God doesn't make mistakes. That's right. Russell Dillon is delusional. Yeah, mental case on TV. Metal Mouth, Dylan Mulvaney is a mistake. I don't know how that person even became famous. It must be through TikTok or something like that. There used to be a whole bunch of shapeshifters all over TikTok giving tutorials on how to do makeup and all kinds of stuff. I never see that stuff anymore. I think, well, I've been saying this for a long time. Their self-deletion rate is very high. It's like 70% of people that become shapeshifters smoke themselves shortly after. This is a problem that eventually will solve itself. Bill Clay, what in the blue hell is that? Mm-hmm. So, Roy, happy freedom to you. Screaming Eagle, where's Al Sharpton when you need him? I can't believe he's got too many more miles on him. He is looking withered, like just withered away. Al Sharpton is not looking very healthy. He's only got so much race baiting left in him. He's going to end up kicking the bucket. Tony Rez, has Dylan had his bottom surgery? I don't know. I don't know. What's up, Susan? Happy freedom to you. I will, Russell. I'll check it right after the live. That's interesting here, Juicer. What's up, Skulls? Happy freedom to you. Alex, it was Bud Light. No, I know him being on the can caused people to boycott Bud Light. But that's not what made Dylan Mulvaney famous. He was already famous. That's why they stuck him on the can, is because they felt that he was some shape-shifting icon or something like that. I think it was TikTok that made him famous. Skulls got to go enjoy some nature. That's badass. Hopefully you had some good weather. What's up, John Griggs? Happy freedom. Lone Wolf, don't want to get you demonetized. We are already demonetized, Lone Wolf. That's why no one's got hooligan badges over there. YouTube demonetized me. And I found out that this November, it'll be like 3 years we've been doing Coffee with Hooligans. I thought it was just over a year. And I was checking on some stuff on YouTube in the YouTube studio, and I realized it's almost been 3 years. It's really crazy. I didn't realize we had been doing Coffee with Hooligans that long. Well, if I miss Bud Light, I don't. I drink Blue Moon or Twisted Teas or just whiskey straight. You know, I got my nice little collection over here. Whenever I need, just grab one of these little drams, take a little sip. Got a nice little collection thanks to Wad. Jeff Reynolds, Kid Rock puts on a good MAGA show? I think so. Holy guess some. Holy guess some. All right, hooligans. Let's get into the fun stuff. Like I said, we're going to be opening today's door of the Advent calendar sent to us by Hair Juicer, and we got our 2 funny videos of the day coming up. But first, I want to remind you guys really quick, if you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use the links in the description in order to send donations. You could do that by using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Zelle, Venmo, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. Like I said, we're going to be opening today's door of the Advent calendar. Let's see where we are. I think we're on day 9 here. Getting her cracked open. Let's see what we get today. See, yesterday we got a tactical pen that had a glass breaker on the back of it. That was something. Yep, today is day 9. They did not perforate these little boxes well enough. That's why it looks all raggedy when I show you guys on the camera. I gotta fight to get these out of the box. It's like Benoit balls. Got a... Oh yeah, what do you guys call these? These little hook things? They got to erase his name. What is it? You know what they're called. Why has it got a twisty thing on it? I've never had survival grade. Does it move? It doesn't move. Just because. Maybe it's to lock it. Oh, it does. It's got a little lock on it, so then you can't open it. See, that's cool. Thank you, Hair Juicer. I appreciate you. Let's go ahead and put this in the kit. Here's Klaus Daniels. I'm gonna hit him with the flashlight really quick. Bam, where you been, son? What you doing? You ain't been sympathizing with no terrorists, have you? That's what I thought. You a good boy. You a good boy. He's like, I can't see anything. I had him in the interrogation spotlight. Thank you, Hair Juicer. All right, get your booty up here. We're going to play the funny videos. Did you give me the bat ears? Klaus Daniels giving me attitude. Anyways, let's get into the fun stuff here. Like I said, this first video is... You guys are going to like this. No, hold on a second. Can we go... Fucking TikTok. Anyways, this first funny video is titled The Real Reason They Want to Ban TikTok. Yep. Me and Klaus Daniels, we don't make videos like that. That's why he don't love me, but that's okay. That's okay. We're going to get into our official funny video of the day. Let me see. Yes, it's this one right here. Let me see who posted this. This is by Handicapable. This is titled Peaceful Protest.
Hi, we're here eagerly awaiting for Ilhan Omar to speak. Ilhan Omar is famous for many, many things. And I want to speak very softly and respectfully here.
Ilhan Omar, did you consummate the marriage to your brother? Which is worse, immigration fraud or brother fucking? Are there any other relatives you fancy, Ilhan? How did your brother propose to you? Come on. Yeah. All right.
Tax billion number 3.
Holy. Anyways, that is all the coffee I had for you hooligans today. I'm going to grab this Linktree link really quick. We're going to drop it in all the chats. We will be reading through. And we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up next. All right, hooligans, there is the Linktree link. The Linktree link where all of my links are listed. So if you'd like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, I would really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7, and we have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience the live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and custom emojis and links and all kinds of stuff right there while watching the live. You will also have access to Hooligans Alley, which is our private social media area. You'll have access to the forums, you'll have access to the arcade, and you will also have access to our advanced messaging system with the built-in group chats that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. jeffmaclive.com is the place to be and the home of the hooligans, so definitely go get yourself a membership. Like I said, we're going to read through, and we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up next. Guess just read a story of a woman getting arrested for doing her dog on video. Yeah, I guess there was a woman that got a lot of attention for that same exact thing on X. She posted the video on X, and people saw it and informed her that it was illegal. She did not believe them, and they called the police on her. And then she was getting arrested, she told the cameras that all women do that. And so now I've kind of had this burning question inside of me ever since that happened, because I didn't know that women were doing that, but yeah. No, guess I'm not the puppy hub. No. That is still animal abuse. Hey, thanks for being here, Metal Mouth. Thank you, Pumpkin. You're the bestest. What's up, Matt PCD? Happy freedom to you. Energy Woman, join us over here on Rumble. I appreciate you. Elder Zoomer, ban it now. I know. It was the Orange Cat's idea. He's like, Dad, hold me upside down, spin me in circles. Bill Clay, did you ever get a flare gun? No, never had a flare gun. Metal Mouth, caress that like button. Yes. Pumpkin, no, Jeff. Women with brains wouldn't. Yeah, I figured. I figured, Pumpkin. It's a pag. Happy freedom. Poor cat. I'm sure he loved it. Klaus Daniels would love it if I was spinning him around upside down. Klaus Daniels has that orange cat energy. What's up, Mav? Happy freedom. up, Kirk Allen? Happy freedom to you. Lone Wolf, happy chapstick. I mean, I don't know what to say back to that. Savage Gaming, of course, the Muppet asks the hard questions. Yeah. I like that everybody got all mad but Omar. Omar was totally fine with it. S King, don't waste the batteries. You're going to need them. That's true. I should throw some batteries in this bag. Just in case. Shark, when did YouTube demonetize the channel? I think in 2023. Or I think. Hold on. I can tell. I have a way to tell. They made me make a video telling them exactly how I do my live. And they said the video wasn't good enough. But the video is unlisted, so no one's able to see it. I was demonetized shortly before July 20th, 2023. So in July, it'll be 2 years that we've been demonetized. I was thinking about applying for remonetization, but there's nothing saying they won't take it away again. And so what I'm really worried will happen is I'll get remonetized on YouTube. Hooligans will leave all the free speech platforms to go back to YouTube because of convenience. And then they will demonetize me again, and we won't be able to survive at that time. That's my biggest worry, and that's why I haven't tried to get remonetized over on YouTube. Agent O, I have orange cat energy. I love that. I wish I did. I'm too damn tired. What's up, Johnny G? Happy freedom. Lone Wolf, if I can't drink Bud, it's Jack Daniels. See, I can't drink Jack Daniels either. It gives me like gut rot. Makes my stomach just ache. Everything. It's animal abuse, in my honest opinion. The cat or what the woman did with her dog. The cat was having himself a time. The woman raping her dog, though, I don't think there's a way to condone that. Holy crap, hair juicer. I can't even read that out loud. That is hardcore. We're going to ask about that in the voice chat on Friday. Yeah, Stoner, that's what that thing's called. Extra bill. Y'all have no idea. ScrewTube took over $10,000 from the channel I was working for. Yeah, YouTube is really bad about that stuff. Every video that we make gets demonetized, even though I'm already demonetized. When I end this live, within 10 minutes, I'll get a notification from YouTube saying that this video is not monetizable because of something I said or some audio that played in the background, and I'll have to cut the video all up into pieces. And then people will watch it, and they'll say, Jeff's censoring stuff because there's parts of the live cut out. And then I get a big middle finger because YouTube sucks. It's stressful. That's why I don't got no hair. There's fucking YouTube problems. Hey, I appreciate you, Shark. Thank you for sticking with us. Everything. Yeah. Yeah, the woman doing the thing with the dog, that is absolutely animal abuse. Tori Wayne, that's messed up. How they can just take that away. They won't let my husband get his YouTube channel back. He just watched videos, never posted one, never commented or done anything. And they banned him because it's linked to Google and his cell phone number. He can never get another one. Yeah, Tori Wayne, they're a bunch of Nazis over on YouTube. Like I said, that's why I haven't been trying really hard to try and get remonetized or anything like that. Because YouTube's bad. It's just as bad as all the news that we cover every single day. And, you know, I've been saying, I've learned to not talk about it so much. I used to talk about it every day. And that's part of what made people leave, is I was constantly bitching about YouTube. But they're bad. They're just as bad as the people on Capitol Hill. It's Jay Spray from dreads to sheds. Yeah, basically. 10 Man, you're demonetized, but I bet YouTube still makes money off of it. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Energy Woman, flock 'em. Yeah. All right, hooligans, it is that time once again. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This cat's trying to rip my curtains down. I don't know if he's going after birds or what. It's always something. Either way, we're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind. But we are wrapping this up. We'll be live again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Of course, I'll keep an eye out for President Trump in case we can capture him live. And I will do the same thing to see if Caroline Leavitt wants to do a press briefing. Either way, like I said, we're going to read through and we're wrapping her up. Thank you, Rappy. Thank you, Elder Zoomer. Much love to you, Pumpkin. Thank you, Tony Rez. Elder Zoomer, you can make free Gmail accounts and have infinite Google accounts. Yeah, but they want you to validate yourself with a phone number now. So you have to figure out how to get fake phone numbers and then create an account and then validate yourself before your fake phone number expires, and then pray to God that you don't ever need to to verify your account, because once that phone number expires, you won't have access to it anymore. And if they got to text you a goofy ass little code, you won't be able to get into your account. But that's pretty much the only way, because they're attaching it to your phone number. And they only allow you to have like 2 accounts per phone number for a year. And after a year, you can add more accounts. Google and YouTube, they're a bunch of Nazis. Thank you, Zero. Streaming Eagle, I'm not going to read that out loud, but yeah. Holy. Thank you, MU. Thank you, Mav. Appreciate you, Tony Rich. Yeah, Elder Zoomer, when I got demonetized, I started moving things around because I was worried that they would take down my Google account and all my YouTube channels. 'Cause I got like 5 YouTube channels. They would all get taken down. So I had to move stuff around. But yeah, they're constantly monitoring us. I will love you too, Rhonda. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Extra Bill, you're right. All right, hooligans. I think we are good to go. Like I said, we will be live again tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. You can join us in the voice chat after tomorrow's live. It's a lot of fun with a lot of laughs, so definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. Go enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and covering today's news and current events and all of that good stuff. Go and find yourself some good food. I'm going to try and do the same. I went and got stuff for Sloppy Joe's because I've had to eat gas station food for the last 4 days. So I went to the grocery store before the live. Either way, enjoy the rest of your day and make your way back to us tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.